Good night. Hi, good night, good night, good night, good night. It is 7 p.m. It is September 10th, guys. The month is flying. It was only September 1st the other day. It's September 10th. It is Sunday. It is 7 p.m. and we are ready to go. This is Marcia Weeks, and you are watching the Marcia Weeks show. And tonight we have some exciting topics, really educational topics, some topics that are going to make you probably cry a little bit and laugh a little bit. But it's all about Barbados and what's happening in Barbados and how does that, how what is happening internationally, how is that affecting us here in Barbados? Yes. So tonight, it's all about what's happening, what is happening in the news. I'm seeing Kendall here. Hi, Kendall. Kendall is from. 1 second. I'm hearing a laughter coming through. Okay. Where's that laughter coming from? It's not my phone. Where is that coming from? Where is that coming from? Let me just mute this one here. Okay. Alrighty, guys. So what is happening is hi, Rameem is saying please like and share so the info gets to others. Rameem, thank you so much. You can message me and let me know what your name is. Who is this person? But Rameem 6070, thank you so much, because I forget about that. I don't come on trying to get subscribers, or anything like that. And I always forget. Everybody keeps saying, why don't you tell the people to subscribe? Because I focus so much on what it is I'm doing that I don't think about that. So thank you for doing that for me, Rumi, to tell people to like the broadcast and to share so the info gets to others. This is so important. And hi, Sonia. Hi, Kendall McCullough. Hi, Steve Moore. Steve is in the UK. Kendall, if that's the same Kendall, that's my friend from Canada. Well, when I say my friend, we met online when Justin Tudor was doing all kinds of crazy things there in Canada. We were connecting there. Hi, Natasha. Good evening. Yes. And guys, you see my screen? What does it say? Protest March number 4. Till the walls come down. This is like a Jericho march, right? And this is March number 4 in this series. Okay? In the NIS and Pension March. This is number 4. March number 4, guys. Bajans are waking up. I heard an analogy. Hi, Nigel from Barbados. Hello. Blessed night to Marcia and our faithful supporters. Yes, faithful they are. Faithful. And I know that they are sharing. They're listening to Rameem's 6070 and they're liking the broadcast and they are sharing. It is important that you like and share. Do it now, because we haven't gone into the issues as yet. But I want to say to you that this march is very, very important. And the numbers are important. And why are the numbers important? Because that's what the powers that be, that's what they will listen to, the numbers. It's all about numbers, that's why you are voting, right? It's all about numbers. And so when you sit at home, you're not being part of the solution. Come out. Last time there was even somebody there, Natasha, who was blind. I don't know if you guys heard about that. Sonia. Hi, Sonia. Yes, thank you, Kendall. Thank you. Listen, Kendall, we had a blind man on the road the last time marching. Okay? Yeah, there was a blind man on the road marching. Okay, we have people who come out, and they wait for us at where we're going to end. They're in a wheelchair. They can't walk properly, right? But they want their voices to be heard, and they recognize that it's important that they're present and there is a representation. Hi, Beige and Eagle. Wonderful. Good night. Sonia. Andrea. Hey, Andrea. Oh, yes. Wonderful. Guys, share. As use this time to share. This is important. This is important. And I tell you, you know, I take this very, very seriously. Before I came on, had my prayer time before I came on here, because I'm not joking about this. I believe as we continue to march that the walls are going to come down. The walls are going to come down. We're going to be able to get the transparency. We're going to be able to see what it is that's behind those walls. The walls that have been erected for us not to see what is happening. We're going to see it. We are saying, when we march, what are we saying? We're saying no to the NIS and the pension bill. The NIS extends our retirement age to 68 years old. The oldest in the Caribbean. No other country. Why should Barbados take this? Why should we allow them to, as I keep saying, put jobby on us? Why should we allow ourselves to be ill-treated and abused? No other Caribbean island, none. In Trinidad, it's 60 years old. No other Caribbean island. The politicians retire at 50. Again, jobby in our faces, jobby in our faces. Politicians retire at 50. And we retire 18 years old. It can't happen so. It won't happen like this. Folks, it can't happen and it won't happen. Get serious. Get serious, Barbados. Get serious. This is March number 4. We should triple those numbers. If each of us who's coming out, including myself, begin to invite 5 persons. 5. We have 300 to 400 people out there. If we each of us invite, and start from now, invite 5 persons. The other thing is that we need about $2,500, guys. You know how we do it, right? Hi, Heather Cleve. Yes, Mark Clark. Yes, Joy and Faith, everybody, good night, good night, good night. Listen, guys, if each of us, think about it, if each of us, if we invite 5 persons to the march, explain to them why. You've been logging on every night, you know exactly why we're going out there. If not, it's on this flyer you're seeing here. And when you see the flyer, please post it, okay? Please share it. But in addition to sharing, just sharing the flyer that we do, we know how to do that well. Call up someone. Call someone. Talk to them about it and speak to them about why representation matters. Did you hear what the Prime Minister, what she said? She said, well, it's just a few hundreds of them. If we go out in our numbers, there's no way they can retire at 50. Those politicians cannot retire at 50. They're, you know, they claim they're going to go and look at it. Well, we will force them. We're not going to sit down and wait until they look at it. We're going to force them. Hi, Mystic Angel. Good night. Edwin Price. Yes, Edwin says, we out Saturday. I'm going to walk till I need new shoes. That's it. Yes. Yes, the scales. So Remen said the scales are finally falling away from more folks' eyes. We must persist. Stop buying into the modern plantation traps. Enough is enough. We are still at it. They can't retire in here at 50. You hear me tell you, Barbados? They can't retire in here at 50. They cannot retire in here at 50. Not in the Barbados that we live. Excuse me? These are the same politicians that sat down with that same bill. Remember, Parliament, 30 of them and 22 of them in the Senate, and sat down and there was a mistake in the bill, and Caswell Franklin is who had to make the mistake open to the public. None of them stood up in the Senate or in the Parliament to say there was a mistake, probably because it wasn't. And those are the people that we must reward them by them retiring at 50. Them same ones who don't even care what happened to our teachers 2 weeks before school. It is them same government, the same government. Connie included. that decided that these teachers, you know how tough things are in Barbados, how hard it is to go to the supermarket, man. You have to be going to the supermarket and buying a little bit at a time. You can't buy in bulk like how you want to buy in bulk, you know. You have to buy a little bit at a time. That is what we're reduced to in this country. And we must reward them. It can't happen in here. Yeah. It can't happen in here. It can't happen in here. To let them know it can't happen in here. Right? 750 contribution instead of 500. 500 it is. 500 it is, Barbados. Nothing less. Carry it back. Carry it back. 500. Yeah? And then telling us about 80 million will be invested overseas. We don't even know in what. After you invested and lost so much of our money already. Right? And this thing about change from board to state. I don't know that the state will now control the money. If Caswell, as I said earlier, did not point it out, what would have happened to us? What would have happened? Caswell will be coming on tonight. I'm just waiting on him to get on here tonight. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let me just make sure that yeah, you know, Mark Clark, it is disappointing, but what is good is that Bajans are waking up. Bajans are waking up. Right? They are waking up, and as someone said, they are in the bed. They're in the bed. You know how you get up. You know how you get up, and when you get up, sometimes, you know, even today I was catching a little nap, and you get up, and you're saying to yourself, man, I want to lay down a little more. I want to lay down. I feel like there's quite a few people who are like that. Some people jump up, you know, and take off the pajamas and put on the clothes, and they wash their face, and they're ready, and brush their teeth, and they're ready and up. While there are others that are still there. They're up, you know, they're up. The sleeping giant is up, but they're just rolling around in the bed, and they're loving that comfortable space, and they don't want to get up. Yeah. But no. We're getting up. Eyes wide open, man. Eyes wide open. Come on, get up. Get up. You know, it's like when the baby born and the nurse what? They want to do, they slap them on the behind and they say, get up. And tonight we're slapping the population and say, get up. Get up now. Time to be up and your eyes wide open. Look at what is happening. Look at the child protection bill. And let me tell you, those of you who believe that we need to protect the children of this country, you saw what happened over the weekend where the little boy was bullied, the little boy was raped. You send your little boy to school and a teacher raped the child, The teacher raped the child, and then through the child protection bill, they try to take away the rights of the parents and put all the rights given to the state, and they can't even protect the children. Only in the last term, a man walk off the street and go straight in the school and rape a 12-year-old girl. I know they rape a teacher now. What kind of nastiness going on in the schools? What kind of nastiness? I want to ask Kim McConnell what is going on. She's the worst minister of education. And when I was calling for her to be fired, a lot of people say she shouldn't be. Oh, give her a chance. And look at what they're doing now. And look at what they're doing to teachers now. The child protection bill that they are proposing removes parental rights. And that's what happened through the MOE in October last year. That's what happened. That's what they did. They ignored the parental rights, and they're now bringing the child protection bill to reinforce that. And this is all because of what's happening internationally and what we have signed on to internationally. This is what they intend to do. Can the state protect our children better than parents? What about when it become when they're ready with this gender affirming surgery? Did you see that the LGBTQIA, I don't know how many letters now they have, saying that it is the World Economic Forum that they are sanctioning them and they are on the board. So you think, and then they're going to tell us that we need to shut up in Barbados, the World Economic Forum that our Prime Minister is so well connected to. So you think it's going to happen in other countries and not here? Parents, no, don't take that. She said, the Prime Minister says, oh, they won't be doing that in Barbados. You believe that? Have you ever been able to believe anything that they have said? Guys, you sharing up this live? You sharing up this live? Yes, she's a colonizer, a complete colonizer, and all over money, and going after money because of a lack of ideas and not listening to the people. We are the opposition, and we are calling for accurate, what we're saying, transparency and accountability is what we're calling for. We are calling for transparency and accountability. We want accurate data on the injuries from the joke, the death from the joke, from the jab, from the injection. We want to know why we're in this country and we don't know. Other countries put it up. UK put it up. USA put it up. Okay? I can go to Jamaica. Jamaica has a page, and you see how many injuries from the joke. We don't have any. So when we go out on Saturday, we're marching about that too, because we're tired. We're tired. We want accountability. We want transparency. Huh? Why did they set up an emergency hospital at the stadium? What is that all about? And talking about in case of hurricane. That can't stand up. It can't even stand up if there's a hurricane. They make it out of tents. It's tents. And then talking about hurricane. Huh? They're trying to fool us again as they fool us with the digital IDs. Huh? They fool us with the digital IDs and talk about, oh, it's not going to be mandatory. You don't have to pin it. But no, they take our little elderlies. I can't wait for Mr. Franklin to come on and jump into this. They take our little elderly people. Once again, they take the elderly. It's the elderly that they take. And they're using the elderly as guinea pigs. Huh? But they don't leave our elderly alone. Huh? When they're ready, they don't want to give them any pension, and they want them to work till they're dead. They won't work until they're dead, till they're 68 and dead. Huh? Before they give them the pension. And now they're going to try them as guinea pig. But, you're going to tap and go. What is it? What's really going on in this country, though? What really got? Let me tell him, let us come out, man. Enough is enough of this here. We are tired of them. We are tired of them 30. We are tired of them 30. Hurricane. Let me see if Mr. Caswell is ready. And I see a teacher also in the chat. I didn't know he could come on, but I see a teacher on. Let me just bring in Mr. Franklin. Good night, Mr. Franklin. My sincere apologies, General. I did not say
good night. Let's put it down to technical difficulties.
Oh my goodness. How are you doing this Sunday?
Oh, I am well. Still getting over the heat from today, but other than that, I'm good.
Yes, and I know you're full of heat on you're on the inside. You're full of fire. You see what's on the screen? It says the poster for the march.
Yes, I am saying. I started a few minutes ago when I checked my WhatsApp too. Yeah, I like it.
Yes. And we give enough big up to Lisa Niles, who spent a lot of this afternoon doing this flyer, and she has some more coming. And because Mr. Franklin, we work as a team. It's a team effort. And we're so happy for Lisa and what she's done with this flyer. So you're ready for Saturday?
Oh, I was ready for Saturday since 2 Saturdays ago. Because as I told you, if there's one person behind that truck, it's going to be me. I'm not going to
Yes.
sit there dead.
No, I'm sure we want to jump in right away, sir. And I want to hear the general what you have to say about these teachers. So you're all about workers since I've known you. That's what is on your heart. Workers call you 24/7. Sometimes they message me to get the number. They go through so much in this country. And I would have heard you say a few things here on this program about the public sector and how the government treats them. And I want to jump right into what was in the newspaper today and then segue into public workers. So we want to talk about the teachers, and I see Mr. Bob. I know you're very familiar with him. He's in the studio as well as a teacher. So I'm going to let you go first, and then we're going to hear from him as a teacher about what he saw in the newspaper today about primary teachers, their contracts not being renewed. What are your thoughts about that, General?
Government behaves very badly, not only with the country, everybody, including its own employees. It's no I don't know how to describe government. They're probably the worst employers in the country. Everything, every gain that the public workers had, every gain that civil servants had, this government in particular, mind you, it has been a steady erosion, aided and abetted by their friends in the unions who refuse to fight. I'll give an example. I have done a little bit of teaching, and I can tell you it is not easy. And teachers were given, after 15 years, a term's leave so they can recharge their batteries.
Mm-hmm.
And then after 7 years after that, and then another 5 years, they will get another term. As they get older, the government just decided one day to shut it down. Mind you, this is provided for in the rules. This is not something that this cannot want to say, okay, we're not going to do with it. This is in the general laws of public service. And government just stopped giving teachers leave. They didn't amend the rules. They didn't say, well, people coming in from next month or next year or whatever will not enjoy the same conditions of service. They just stop it. And how they stop it? They stop it with the aided and abetted by senior public officers who don't understand that they too are workers. We have some of the meanest senior public officers anywhere in the world. They take pleasure out of inflicting pain, and they do not see themselves, once you give them a few stripes, since you're calling me general, since you give them a few stripes, they do not recognize, and they do everything possible to hurt their fellow public officers. And I think they're proud about it, Teachers then, rather than strike over that issue, they get to court. The court will in their favor. What's the government done? The government ignored the court ruling too.
What?
Yes, because teachers are still asking for their terms, even not getting it, even though the case would have been won.
But they don't have unions? So what is the BUT doing?
They have unions. The problem is that it is a problem where there might be fear. You would only ask people to withdraw their labor if you believe that they will come out, they will withdraw. And I don't know if the teachers are some are so afraid that they want to take the easy way out. The easy way out is court. When you go to court and the judge rules in your favor, well, that's the easy way out. But unfortunately for us, a case takes years in our system. If the government wants it to go through, it takes years. It's really quickly. If they don't want to go through, I had a case against the government when Mayor Motley was Attorney General. They put the Attorney General in court. I wasn't a judge yet. And look what happened. Mayor Motley was removed as Attorney General. Their Marsh became Attorney General. Then the government changed for 10 years. Then they came back. And up to now, my case has not seen. It went before one judge, and the judge was my friend, so he couldn't hear it. And after that, nobody else but they're on the case. Even the judges frightened to do their duty. This is where it comes, you know. So when teachers went to court, that was they thought that was the easy way out. It was because what they should have done is to say, well, look, we ain't teaching. But you know,
right.
You know, we have some very good teachers, right?
I know that.
Teachers. You might have one or two bad editors. And I don't want people to believe because they got one or two bad editors or bad apples or whatever you call them to tarnish all teachers with us, because let me tell you, we have teachers who give of their time and give of their labor for nothing, you know.
Yes.
Part of their duty.
And their money and their money too. They buy food and resources. Buy
supplies for the children. They even buy clothes for them.
I know.
Got a parent that ain't got enough things. Teachers, they got them buy a pair of shoes for the child. So we have some very good teachers, and they are being abused. And the thing is, they are being abused, and they love themselves to abuse because they are good and they love the children. They love the children. Most of them love the children that they're the teachers, so they don't want to withdraw their labor, you know, because you will hear them saying, "But the children, you know, how many times I had a teacher say, "Them are yours." They are concerned. They are more concerned about the children than their own welfare. I've seen it because I have teachers in my union, and a lot of them do not want to withdraw their labor, because when you see a teachers union withdraw labor, it is the very, very last resort. They don't want to do it because, trust me when I tell you, most of them, 99% of the teachers in Barbados want their children to succeed. And they don't feel that withdrawing the labor is in the best interest of the children. Mind you, it might be the best interest of the teachers. So I suppose that's why the unions try to go to court too. You know, because I'm telling you, look at the nurses at the hospitals and the clinics. Nurses were in those clinics suffering, getting sick. You only know why they start withdrawing labor, because the one in St. Peter, 6 out of 14 came down with illnesses as a result of the conditions at work. And they were in there get sick, going back to work sick because they send the patients. So when you hear people criticizing public officers, get me real vexed, you know, because I know who I am dealing with. I know the people that give of their best, who go above and beyond the call of duty, and then the government treats them like dirt. They don't care about them. And you have people in the ministry who should tell the minister when they get these orders, because, sorry, minister, I don't agree with you. And if they don't agree, put it in writing. But you know what? They're not going to put it in writing anymore now, because the law requires them to do so. The Public Service Act, the Code of Conduct and Ethics require permanent secretaries and heads of departments to tell the minister you're wrong. And these are my reasons for saying so. But when you put them on contract, so because you imagine a teacher or a head teacher, a permanent secretary, comptroller of customs, those chief education officers, these are people who are on contract. You put them on contract, they have 1 more year to go on their contract, or a few more months, and something comes up. You think they can tell the minister, I don't agree with you, but the contract can get renewed. So they are destroying the public service because they want absolute power. These people are power hungry freaks, you know. They want to control everything. They do not want to stay in their lane. They want to go in the permanent secretary lane. They want to go in the head of the department lane. They want to go in the minister lane. They want to go in every other lane. Each person in the government has a specific function. Each job have a job description. The ministers have a particular job. The permanent secretaries have one, heads of departments have one, but no, you're getting an entanglement now of all of them, because this government in particular feel like they must control everything. They put people on contract. That destroys the public service because they get the way. Look, if you have a fellow on contract, let's say a senior teacher applied for Western City vacancy of head teacher, and they apply. Go in there, do a wonderful interview, get the job. They're no senior teacher. 3 years later, contract up for renewal. What happens? Senior teacher must have done something they don't like. No contract. That person now has to move from principal back to senior teacher. That's embarrassing, demoralizing, and everything else. Because trust me, the same people that you just skip over are the people who are going to be laughing at you all the way back down. It is not in the best interest of teachers or any public officer in Barbados. But I heard the Prime Minister herself talking about what a great thing it was. The Prime Minister don't stand up in public service. She never held a job. She worked for the family. And so she worked in her family firm. So you expect that she come in there not working among people? Spoiled child behavior. I got to have it my way or no way at all. And teachers know they're not renewing their contracts. Good day, Marcia. What happens to a fella who knows that his contract will be renewed and he will go and teach from beginning of the term? He ain't looking for a job nowhere else. He ain't nothing because he knows, well, come September 1st, I'm back in school. And then a week or so before you hear, sorry, don't come back. What do you expect? They realize now that those teachers have bills, have children to send to school. You can't be so mean. And these are people that you call your people, you know. These are people who you want to vote for you. But, you know, voting is done 2024 or not 2027. So you don't care now. You will make up down the road. And that's what's been happening all the time. They treat the people like crap. I want to use the other word, but it's not polite. I use jobby, so I'll use it. And then they look and smile in the face, and they just are so loving and so forgiving people. They forgive them. I am not so kind. I am not so forgiving. They cannot continue to treat people like they don't matter. And they know look, when let's say these teachers get their jobs back, you think they're going to have the same motivation that they had last term? When they know they can be bundled out of a job just like that? No teacher should set foot in any school the beginning of the term unless these teachers are reinstated.
Microphone is off. Your microphone is off.
I am still on. It's on here.
Okay, all right. Sorry. Thank you, Alwyn. Let me hear from Alwyn. Alwyn is on, and as a teacher, you hear Mr. Caswell speaking, and my heart goes out. I tell you, I teach as well privately, and I know that it can be easy. Those teachers would have been waiting. You know how things hard, man. Grocery bill, it's tough. They have their big salary, and they have all of these increases that they're getting, but these teachers are looking forward. Mr. Bob, you are a teacher as well. Can you open your microphone and talk to us about good night, and how did you feel when you saw the Barbados Today article?
Good evening, Mr. Franklin and Miss Weeks, Mrs. Weeks. When I saw the article and I saw that these teachers who were home for the entire summer and right on the verge of going to school for planning on Monday, you don't receive, your contract is not renewed. I asked myself, what more must this government do to us that we refuse, that we are not taken to the streets in our thousands? What more? I'm saying that teachers would have planned their livelihood, their finances around going back.
Mr. Bob, are you guys still there? Are you still there? Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? I'm good. Mr. Bob, we're not hearing him. We're not hearing Mr. Bob. Mr. Bob, if you're hearing us, okay, his mic is muted. Let me try to unmute the
Uh,
mic. Okay, go right ahead, sir. Go right ahead.
okay,
Mhm.
you can.
Okay, speak again and let's see if we can hear you, Mr. Bob. Okay. So what you can do is to go out and come back in because it's good, Mr. Franklin, to hear from a teacher. Go out and come back in, Mr. Bob, and see if that will help. Yes. Mr. Franklin, you hear what he was saying.
Yes, I heard what he was saying. I didn't know his passion. But I want more teachers to have that passion.
The teachers. So you're saying the teachers, because he's saying with what is going on, the teachers, and he's agreeing with you, the teachers should band together and decide Saturday should be the day. This Saturday is just before school starts, the 16th. And we did not even have teachers on our thing, Mr. Franklin. But the teachers need to come out and join. The teachers, sometimes we're so selfish, Mr. Franklin. We get so selfish because we have our jobs. Our jobs are fine. I have my contract, so then I don't business about the lady down the street that don't have, or the man down the street that lost his contract. The teachers would need to come together and say, listen, we coming out or we marching on Saturday. Bring your placards, make your own placards and come out. We're tired of this. They're treating us terribly. Mr. Bob is back on. Let me see if he's Mr. Bob, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Yes, continue, sir.
I said that when I saw the article, I asked myself, what more must this government do to us? What more that we will not take to the streets in our thousands to say to them that we are not satisfied with the way that we're being treated? You have teachers like myself who would have planned their financial future or based on going back to work. But here is right on the verge of going to work on Monday, expecting to go to work to assist with planning for the school year. You're not given a contract. And then what is annoying is that primary school teachers' contract is not renewed. The UT may fight it. It's not a may. The word may should not be there. We have to stand up and fight because it is unethical to do that to such an important part of our workforce. Teachers are very important. Every profession that we have has to start with a teacher. And I'm saying that what they're doing is not fair. It is not right. And the union must fight it. Not may fight it. The union must fight it.
Mm-hmm. But Mr. Franklin is saying that that people, a lot of the teachers, they are not moving in solidarity, so they are not necessarily going to be willing to shut it down. Say Monday morning, when Monday morning comes, the BUT says, listen, we are not going to school. We are not going to school until the teachers are reinstated. Would you, you're part of the teaching fraternity, would you and the other teachers join in with the BUT?
Standing up, I will stand up to fight for my colleagues because we realize that today it is for us. It may be for some person else, and tomorrow is for come to our doors. So we have to stand up with each other because we do not know the day based on how this government is operating. We do not know when they will come after us.
Yeah, as you said, you don't know when they'll come after you because it is being in the article. Actually, I don't know, Mr. Caswell saw it, but in the article it says that they are looking at they're seeking to reduce the teaching complement. It's right here. To move there's a move to reduce the teaching complement as a directive given by a government agency. What government agency? Why everybody is so scared? Why you can't say which government agency? Say what government agency did it?
That
Bring it
government
out to
agency,
go ahead.
that government agency is not working for the government. The government works for them. Though it's called the IMF. You know, teachers should have about 25 students in the class, no more. But we have several. We got 30 and 35, I think, in some classes. We don't want less teachers. We want more. But they are looking for ways to cut down on the salary bill.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing is, teachers should have been out there with that smart thing. You know, there is a thing written by a German pastor called Martin Niemöller or Niemöller. I don't speak the German well enough, so I could excuse me for the pronunciation. But I get Martin right, I suppose. He said, first they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Martin Niemöller, he was a pastor, a German pastor, when the Nazis were burning havoc in the 1940s, 1945, 1945. You know, they start attacking the socialists first. And a lot of people didn't care because they were not socialists. Then they went for the trade unionists. They weren't trade unionists. They went for the Jews. They were not Jews. They were happy to burn up the Jews. Then they start going for everybody else. And when they came for you, so they're coming for the teachers now. And you're not going to speak out. You're not going to stand because you're not a teacher. You're not going to stand up because you're not a primary school teacher. Because you might be a teacher, but you're not a primary school teacher. Or you might be an appointed teacher, so you're not going to stand up for those teachers. You better they can come for you next, you know. They will come for you next and then there will be nobody left to stand up for you. I remember just recently, they had 2 cases against teachers for running the last election. It was not against the law. It was not against the law since 1966. People believe it was. But we had teachers in the form of Cynthia Ford, who was in Parliament, who was in Senate, who campaigned, who did everything. And the same Barbers, the party that appointed her to all these things, did not fire her, did not bring her before the disciplinary committee, but they brought against Alvin Bob and Pedro Shepherd. And the only reason they did that, I think, because they came for the Dems. And said therefore those people were not Dems. You know what I mean? So I think people just didn't pay much attention to that. The law was clear, and the law was clear from the inception of our Constitution. But we have the general orders that transcends independence and other, because the general orders used to be the orders made by the governor general, the governor. And the governor had rules against civil servants running. But in 1966, when we got our Constitution, the Constitution didn't have all those restrictions. It only restricted the 3 categories of public office that anybody else could run. And the Constitution then gave Parliament the right to specify other posts. But they never did. But yesterday they went after these people. And let me tell you something. I was representing people since 1984 in the public service in discipline matters. Those 2 cases were the fastest cases that ever come before a panel. They went through like grease lightning. People don't get through so fast. Sometimes a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years pass. And while I'm waiting for another matter that's on now 5, 7 years for it to get through to the system, there's come in and went through. You understand what's happening? They were so interested in destroying anybody who opposed them. And those
corruption.
Those 2 had, and the chief education officer, she had no right in it. It's not her job. But she went and she did the investigation, had no authority to do the investigation, because the law does not specify her. It says the permanent secretary, head of the department. She is not the permanent secretary, and there is no department of which she's head. But she did the investigation, and the commission. So
they're asking you to raise your volume a little bit, Mr. Franklin. While he's doing this, somebody says, how come the IMF didn't ask the government to reduce the amount of the ministers of government? How come they didn't decide they're going to reduce the 30? Why they don't? There's no reduction in their salary. In fact, they're getting increases, and they are allowed to retire 50. Everything is fine with them, but no, they're not. Yeah,
you never know. The IMF might have told them, but you don't have to do what the IMF tell you. Because the IMF were asking them to lower national insurance, cut pensions, and do all these things for years. Every other prime minister of Barbados faced this demand from the IMF, and they told them no. Everything. Only this nigga put one that we have here now. They said that she's going to jump into bed with them, wholly, without looking to see the harm that these things will do to people. The others said no. They said no. Look, the IMF had told Barbados, we are too small to have free university education. They told us that we should not have free health care. And every other prime minister of Barbados said no. But you're paying for more and more things in the hospital.
Yeah.
Well, somebody says here, good point, reduce the ministers first. Yeah, because, thank you, Donna. I'm glad you mentioned that, because the prime minister herself, been in opposition, claimed that Barbados should have no more than 12 ministers. I mean, she had 26.
26, even more than double what she said. More than double, and we sat down. The thing is, we sat down and we took it. We took it, Mr. Franklin.
Yeah, we took it, and we took it because she said, "Many hands make light work." You mean many hands make no work, because a lot of them got nothing to do.
They're not doing anything.
I'll give you an example. And I throw this in Cappy Greenwich's face when he attacked me. I said, "Listen, you were not the best minister we ever had, and you had Ministry of Education, Youth, Sports, and Culture. Now there were 4 ministers for the portfolio that you had as the one minister. He couldn't say anything, and he wasn't the best minister. He was sluggish and slow with everything else. He got the work done, nonetheless. He wasn't flamboyant, but he managed them. And then you've taken what he did as one lazy minister and given it to 4 people. It is many hands make light work. It is many hands don't make no work, because some not got nothing to do.
Nothing to do. We don't see the impact of it. Mr. Franklin, if we could have even seen the impact of it, if we even saw the impact of it, then you could say, well, we're not seeing any impact. All 30 of them were there, and there's a mistake, and nobody said anything in the parliament. They debated. Go ahead, sir.
So I keep telling them, like I tell them all the time, look at yourselves first before you start. I remember some time ago, the Comptroller of Customs and the Chief Immigration Officer approached me and asked me to support them in having customs officers search when they come in and out of work and lie detector tests. And I agreed. I said, I have no difficulty with the customs officers can lie detector tests if they start at the cabinet first. I said,
lead by example.
Yes, lead by example. I said, start with the cabinet first, and I will encourage every customs officer to take a lie detector test. I ain't hear back from the body.
Well, you know what? Let me go with that. Let me go to Mr. Bob, because Mr. Bob, is still on. Let's ask him this one question, and I know that, and let him go. But Mr. Bob, when you think, I don't know if you heard what Mr. Franklin was saying, right, about the ministers themselves. Why don't we start there first? If we're in such a crisis, why don't we start by cutting the number of ministers and reducing their pay? Why don't we start there? Why are we going to slap the bread out of teachers' mouths that have families, have children, and so on? Do you think that these ministers need to lead by example in this area?
It is expected of every responsible adult to show, to lead by example. If they are responsible leaders and they want the rest of the electorate to follow, they should lead by example. So if they're saying to us that we have to cut and contrive, if they're saying to us that 3% salary increase is enough, why are they taking a 10% increase on allowances? Why are they not cutting their salary? Why are they planning to cut the teaching force, but allow a cabinet which is way past 17 in the last administration to continue when they said that 17 were too many? So I'm saying that they should lead by example. But here we are in a case where it is do as I say, but not as I do.
Mhm.
So yes, if you're expecting the electorate to tighten their belt, they should start as well.
Mhm. And what are you hearing from your teacher friends? I mean, are they satisfied with what the BUT saying that they may fight it? And I'm wondering, I wonder if the BUT knew about this before. Why are they so calm about it? It seemed, well, you know what? Let me say, it appear as though they're calm about it. Why is he saying may? I don't understand why may? Mr. Bob, why you think it's your union? It's your union. Why are they saying
I, I,
may?
I believe the mayor may have come up, they have been placed there because they are thinking about having a meeting with the ministry to get some clarification on what is really happening with these teachers, because you have the same post being interviewed for, whereas teachers who are already in the post have not been given contracts. So I am saying they're probably waiting for clarification. But I would say to them, I would, like how we said to them that we're not going to work on the 4th of September. I would say to them, we're not going to work until you get this matter sorted with these teachers.
Hmm. Go back to the 4th of September because a lot of people would not know about that. Can you tell us what was happening? So today is the 10th of September. School really reopens on the 18th. It's 18th, right? Of September.
11 for teachers, which is planning
Mhm.
week, starts tomorrow, and 18
Yes.
for students. At the beginning of every school year, each we are given a calendar which gives us the dates for the start of school, the half term breaks, and vacations. So we know before from September what vacation, where the half term breaks, where the vacation starts and ends for every term. So like next year the school starts
Mr. Bob, are you there? Think he has
earlier.
some. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Bob.
I said at beginning of term we are given a calendar of
Yes.
vacation, half term breaks, and we know beforehand when those breaks will occur, when vacation starts and end. So we know that for September, that school starts for students on the 16th of September, and the week before is planning week. So, and what had happened this year is that we had that same calendar of events, which indicated from early that school would have started on the 11th. But here we are just before the end of the beginning of September that we have a change coming being announced by the ministry. So that was because people went ahead and planned their business according to what was there
Was
from
there? So,
September
so
20th.
the,
Yes,
the change, let's be clear. So the change was that they wanted you to come off of the vacation and to start working at least 1 week earlier.
yes, yes.
Wow.
After having that notice about 11th a year in advance.
A year in advance, the teachers were actually out of the island. You guys hearing this? And then when we are ready, we say all kinds of things about teachers. This is abuse of power. So they were on vacation that was planned a year in advance because you go online and you see everything is on there, and they planned their vacation somewhere away, and all of a sudden they wanted them to come in to work 1 week before, and I think that the BUT stepped up, didn't they, Alwyn?
Yes, they did. And they must be complimented for standing up for them. And this is another situation where we have to stand up for our
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Bob. I think we're having a little technical difficulty there, but it was good to hear, Mr. Franklin, from a teacher, how they feel about what is happening. So thank you so much, Mr. Bob, for coming on. I'm seeing my co-host, Heather, as is joining us at the moment. Hi, Heather. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing wonderful. Good night, everyone. I hope that you have had an enjoyable day. It has been quite rainy in New York, but we're still here.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And we're here talking about our teachers and the fact that, according to the BUT president and Barbados Today here, it's a fact that there's some primary school contracts that have not been renewed and school starts back, on the 16th. Mr. Franklin, is there anything that you want to add to the fact that Mr. Bob is saying, listen, the ministers need to lead by example. He's actually agreeing with you, not to add, he's agreeing with you that they should take some cuts and we should get some reduction in the number of ministers as well.
Marcia, the only time you will see cuts is if the prime minister believes that her back is to the wall. Then she will start doing something about it, because she's going to survive. She's going to trample on whoever to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And that right now they're enjoying the support. At least I believe they're enjoying the support of the majority of Barbadians, and they will do whatever they like because right now they feel like they don't have to fear anybody or anything. They are on top. You just let the people stand up. Let the people come out. Let the people march. Let the teachers come out and march. Let the people who are suffering, let the people who are wondering about that child bill, and you let them come out and march. You will see how quickly the government back down. But because they are not getting the pushback, whenever the prime minister gets pushed back, she caves in. You remember when they were talking about putting somebody else as governor, president, and the people start making noise with Sandra Mason. She kept saying, "No, nobody never said we can make me asked already." You remember that?
Yes.
Whenever she had her back to the wall, when she realized that the people were against her, because the people wanted Sandra Mason. And
Our independence. Look at what happened with independence.
yes, but that was not good. That was dirty. When the people said, "You leave independence alone," she said, "No, we are trouble in it." And then a year later, I come and call it Barbados National Day. When I said in the Senate that the prime minister, there was a man called Motley in the city, and Barrow wanted to get rid of him because he was the mayor of Bridgetown, and he was also a member for the parliament for the city. And Barrow said, if he can't get rid of Motley, if he can't get Motley of the city, he can get the city out of Motley. And he abolished local government. And so I was speaking to that on the floor of the Senate. And then they said, but no, Motley's granddaughter wants to get, I'm going to get there. The president cut me and said, Senator Franklin, you can't attribute a problem about this to anybody. I said, Mr. President, I agree with you. And I take your guidance. However, I realized that you can read minds because I was going to say that she wants to take Barrow out of independence. But since you told me I can't say that, I won't. But that was my position. She wanted to take Barrow out of independence. This is revenge,
Mm-hmm.
Barrow took Motley out the city. And I trust myself, something just crossed my mind. It's not a little secret monument at the building there in Hero Square. I hope that the statue they put it there in Hedge,
My God.
That's in my mind. I just hope that statue in Hedge, it's too secretive. Why you can't tell us what they put in there?
It's a surprise. It's a
Was it
surprise.
commission?
From these people.
Was there a commission for the statue?
I don't know what they did. I know they had people put in designs or whatever. I only hoping, I am praying that that person who, because I'll tell you something, all of his numerous children and grandchildren might be happy, but not me. You had enough children, right? Because
it's alleged that he had a lot of
he
children
had
in
enough children, and
Barbados.
I know some of them. I know some of them. I worked with
But
some of them.
you
I
know,
went to school with one of them. So I didn't allege nothing. Motley didn't keep his pants on long. Not before
listen.
that.
Oh Lord, listen. We we this is so much to deal with that has happened today, and I'm telling you, everything that they put their hand in, it's just so messy. Our Ministry of Education, they according to Barbados today, they are trying to reach them, and there is no answer from the chief education officer, no answer from the minister of education. They have their jobs, but here are some teachers out there on the bread line. They box the bread out of their mouths, and it's so inhumane. If you were going to do it, why didn't you do it even earlier? Give the people enough time to search for a job. It's so inhumane what has happened. But the other issue that we want to look at this evening, but before we go on to that, I'm hoping that teachers who are listening will come out on Saturday. I'm hoping that we can see the flyer go back up on the concerning the march, to go up on the screen, and people will know that the march is on Saturday at 10 a.m. And we're looking to go from Massey Car Park right there at Kensington. And everybody needs to come out. Guys, come out, come out. Stop saying that, stop yawning in the bed. You're waking up and you're saying, no, man. Go wash your face. And in Jamaica, we say, get the matter out the eye. I don't know what you call it here. Wash your face, man, and let's get going. Let's get going. Let's get this thing going. All right? Let's get this thing going. But and I'm hoping the teachers will come out to that march. I would love if we can get the poster up on the screen again, that would be great. But yes, go ahead. You were saying something, Heather?
Actually, I was not here from the beginning. And what I wanted to know was if the person who was on, he is the BUT union rep. I'm thinking.
No, he's just a teacher.
No, he's not.
Oh, he's just a teacher. Okay. What I wanted to find out, if it was not standard practice that at the end of the term, or that you would, a teacher was not coming back, that you would inform them. I think that is what should be done. Not wait until the term is now starting to inform someone that they will not be back, because people would have planned their relatively they don't have time to plan then. If you are going to announce it at the end of the term, that or just before the term starts, that a person will not be coming back, they may have already made financial commitments on the determination that they would have had a job. You don't know what debt they would have placed themselves in. So to me, that is unacceptable. When the term ended, they should have been informed either by the headmaster or the Ministry of the Education or whoever was responsible for that school that they will not be back come September. So what happened here is unacceptable, and whoever has been unduly affected, they should protest it. And that's just my 5 cents.
Yeah. Well, we're hoping that they decide that they decide that they're going to join the march, right? That they would that they decide that they're going to join the march. Well, what is happening now as well in Barbados? We're seeing again our elderly. The elderly, they are being, Heather, I don't know if you saw, I know you're in New York, but you watch the news and you read the news. What's happening now is that our elderly are being asked to use the digital ID that they claim we know, but you didn't have to pin it, right, Caswell? We didn't have to pin the IDs. That's what they said. The ministers, both Minister Ishmael, he said, no, it's not, mandatory. The prime minister came out and assured us of that, and everybody was telling us, that those people are the conspiracy theorists and all kinds of different things. And people say, I got my ID and I didn't have to pin it. Until for how long? For how long? Now we're hearing that the elderly, they're trying it out on the elderly will have to, their IDs will have to be pinned, right? Caswell, you want to elaborate a bit more on that?
Yes, from in Tom Allen's time, Tom instituted a policy where if you reach age 65 and you produce your ID card on the bus, you can travel free. Now, the ID card, when you're over 65, has a background, a red background. But if you look at the old ID card, you will see that here, like mine, the background is yellow. That means I am not yet 65.
Okay.
Over 65, the card is red. So once you come into the bus and you flash that card with the red thing, and the driver see it, he ain't gonna sit down and start calculating which year you born and start and do any arithmetic. The red card will tell you. That's all you need. So now they are saying, okay, now in order to prove that you are age 65 or over, you have to pin your card, and the bus they will now have this system where you can hit the card and it takes money from your bank or whatever else you're taking it from. And now, in order to get that free service now, once you have to get the card pinned, it's mandatory now for them, or you can't drive on the people's bus. But I remember the marshal saying that it was not mandatory. You could pin it, or you don't have to get the card. And that came about when some people in Jamaica took the government to court over these ID cards. And the Jamaica court ruled that it was unconstitutional to require such. And so with that in mind, Barbados government started backpedaling and said, no, it is not mandatory. Always intended to be mandatory. Even Jamaica intended it to be mandatory. But they came and tell the people a bold-faced lie that it was not intended to make it mandatory, but they are doing everything possible to make it mandatory. And I want to know why. Look, and they say also that the ID card, this card, the one I just showed you, will expire. An ID card can expire because what an ID card is, an ID card tells you that this is Caswell Franklin, this is Marcy, this is Heather Cole. All right, that's all it does. It says that to a third party who don't know you. Mm-hmm. So if they come to you, Marcia, and they say, you don't have to pull up, let me see your ID card because you know me.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know me, you don't need an ID card from me. I remember I'll give you a joke. I went to National Insurance some years ago to cash my mother's pension. And the young lady saw me and said, Frankie, how you doing and stuff? And when I got in the line, I go on to her and she asked me my ID card. I got so bad. I said, you don't know me? I trained you when you came here. Because
call you back. Let me call you back. What's going on? Sorry about that. Sorry, there's someone on the line here, Mr. Fred Corbin. But just let you finish up. Fred Corbin is on the line. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't mind giving away the Fred to come back later because I'm sure people want to hear from him.
Yes. Okay. Well, let me. No. I want to hear the story. Finish the story.
So I said, oh, why that's nonsense. I got already bad in the supervisor said, Frankie, man, I work there. She knew me. I trained her when she got me there. But because we have a lot of foolish policies now, an ID card is only supposed to identify you, just like a passport. A passport expires for traveling. Mm-hmm. You can't travel outside of Barbados with a passport. But if you are coming to Barbados, however old that passport is, it is good for ID purposes.
Correct.
But no, we come up with, oh, the ID card expired. ID card can expire because all it has to do, let's say my ID card expires on the 1st of June. On the 2nd, who am I? Huh? Because my ID card expires, so I can't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm. But you know,
people.
These are some of the issues, guys, that as you see on the poster, transparency and accountability. One of the things that we are marching for underneath that heading is about those ID cards, because we were clearly lied to. The nation was lied to about those ID cards. I remember clearly. Let me hear from Mr. Fred Corbin. Mr. Corbin.
Marcia, before you move on,
yes,
instituting a system with seniors to start this ID on the bus is a time-consuming process. So I want the government to think about that.
Interesting. We come back to that point. We won't come back to that point. Fred, can you speak and let me see, make sure that people can hear you. Okay, hold a second. Could you say that again, please?
Good evening, Marcia. How are you?
I am doing great. Guys, can you hear him? Can you hear him, Caswell? Those of you listening,
yes, we
can
can.
you hear?
Yes.
Okay, we're hearing you loud and clear.
Fantastic.
Yes,
Fantastic.
Good to have you on, Mr. Corbin. I know you had been speaking a lot and sounding an alarm about these ID cards, and very, very early. And you would have seen the Barbados Today article, which is saying now that the seniors will need to, seniors are asked to tap and go with the Trident ID, which means that they will have to pin their card. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I think it's nothing more than the vindication of exactly what I've been saying, that the digital ID card is pinned for the reason of either linking it to your bank account or pinning it in order to be able to monitor your movements. And we know that the digital ID cards are designed with an RFID chip in the card that can talk to other devices, such as your cell phone or your laptop or your tablet. In addition to that, the information that is on there can be sourced once you're near a server or you're near an internet device. In the future, I'm not saying that it is active as yet, but in the future, the digital ID card will be able to tell exactly what you've just purchased or what you wouldn't be purchasing or where you've purchased in the past. And this is only vindication of exactly what I've been saying, is that when you tap and go, that means that your ID is logged with the system and your account is debited the $3.50 that you're traveling. Now, it has been my experience that traveling on transport board buses, senior citizens don't pay. So if senior citizens do not pay to travel, what is the reason for the tap and go, and why do you need a digital ID in order to use the transport board system? That is my question. So Mr. Ishmael needs to come to the public and tell the public that Fred Corbin was right all along and that he was on a need-to-know basis and he didn't need to know. And he didn't understand the technology that was being put in place, simply because this technology has come from the military establishment. This technology was developed by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. It was funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who filed a patent in 2020 in order to create the brain-computer interface via a digital ID. In addition to that, the most alarming part of the digital ID is that it is tied to a vaccination status.
Wait. Remember, we can't use those words as we have discussed. So let's find other terms.
Well,
okay?
Injection status then.
Yes,
so let's look at an injection status. And an injection status, and here is how it's being used or could potentially be used against a senior citizen. A senior citizen gets on a bus and taps the ID card. But because it's already pinned and her information is now accessible, the algorithm that controls the identity realizes that this individual is not up on her injection status. In other words, she hasn't taken her recent injection of the so-called COVID or whatever it is. At the end of the day, this could then reject the card. In other words, the money doesn't work. And this is how it can be used as a tool against the sovereign nationals of our country and across the world. It is currently being used against sovereign nationals of England, as well as Chinese people. And I shared a voice note as well as a website this week showcasing exactly that the digital ID does not work, your money does not work, and you have to reapply, you have to have a retina scan, facial recognition, the whole 9 yards, and the money still wouldn't work for the particular lady in question because she did not take an injection. And she was shut out of her bank account because she did not have an injection and because the system did not recognize her because she had no facial ID. And the most dangerous part about the digital ID system, which I hope to God will never be implemented in Barbados, is that this is linked to a social credit score. And the reason that we know this is that digital IDs have been designed in order to create the control of the human being. In other words, their behavior, their method of operating, their domestic movements during the day in business and so on. That patent was created by Bill Gates in 2020, as I just mentioned, and that was to create the human to digital interface. He then funded a company which then created the method and systems for prioritizing treatment, injection, testing, and our activities of the human. And that patent was filed by an Israeli company on August 31st of 2021, patent number US 11107-588B2. And I'm going to read the abstract of that. I quote, system and methods for anonymously selecting subjects for treatment against an infectious disease caused by a pathogen. The system comprises a plurality of electronic devices comprising instructions to generate an ID, and when in proximity of another such electronic device, one or both electronic devices transmit or receive the ID to and from the other electronic device. A score is then generated based on a plurality of such received identifications. Additionally, based on information received from a server, relevant treatment instructions are displayed to the subject based on the received information and the score. The server comprises instructions for sending to the plurality of electronic devices for information to be displayed with the relevant treatment instructions. Additionally, the server to or from electronic devices and to the subject as identified. There you have it. In addition to that, what goes hand in hand with that, which is more alarming, is that if the subject is injected, they are technically chattel property. I think Mr. Caswell will understand what I mean by chattel property. And the reason that I say that is this. In 2013, the Supreme Court of the United States made a ruling with a particular case, the Association for Molecular Pathology versus Myriad Genetics Incorporated, where Myriad Genetics patented the ability to separate different components of human DNA and patented under a medical prophylactic patent. That patent was passed and then used by the pharmaceutical industry to create the mRNA that we see in the injections that are currently being used as biological weapons against the public. You are injected with a COVID injection, you become chattel property through a process called RNA transcription. In other words, it changes your DNA so that you now become the owner, or you are owned by the patent holder of the particular formulation of the injection. That is what is most frightening about a digital ID, because it identifies that particular person as having received and those who don't. Thereby, if it's pinned, once your digital ID is pinned to your bank account, not only are you chattel property if you're injected, but you can be controlled financially and monetarily or shut out of the system entirely. That is the
Interesting.
bottom line.
Interesting. So, I mean, what is happening? Someone here, I'm trying to find it. A comment that someone had that since April, they had said that the seniors were going to, be able to tap and go with the Trident IDs. Just that we didn't realize that they were going to be pinned. But then they are planning to go to children, to school, to students, and there's another category of people. So eventually, I think this is for the whole transport board system for us to be able to tap and go, and that the IDs, everything will be connected to our bank accounts, because how could we tap and go if we can't pay? That's how we would pay. Right.
Precisely. That is precisely it.
So,
there's an interesting irony to this entire situation, because the entire payment by card idea for the transport board was actually proposed to the transport board by my company in 2002. But the way that it worked with our design was that it was a pay-as-you-go card. In other words,
right,
like the old scratch cards that you had for telephones years ago, you would buy a $20 card, and you just swipe the card as you got on the bus, and the card would automatically be deducted, and so on. And when the card expired, then you just buy another card.
Right.
But you pay cash for that. That actually works much better than the tap and go, and I'll tell you the reason why. The reason that the tap and go will be fraught with problems is because you cannot guarantee that the receiver in the bus is going to be linked to the server in order to read the card correctly. And it is always going to be problematic, particularly on rainy days, because we know that the infrastructure in Barbados is not that great. So if you're connected to the cloud and you have a very rainy day and one bus decides that it's not accepting anybody else's cards, that means that the bus has to stop and nobody travels. This is the ridiculous nonsense that has not been researched and has not been put in place, and the logistics they know nothing about. The transport board has no clue about what they're getting into. In addition to that, the technocrats that are in government know absolutely nothing about the logistics of how to maintain a system with that, because they do not have the UHF or the VHF satellite technology to maintain the system connectivity. And this is what we had researched a long ago, because we took the aerospace technology that you get on a private jet and we put it on the top of a bus and we do the satellite connection. That way you have a seamless transition and the cards can... Why is it that we can go to Singapore, we can get on public transportation and we have free Wi-Fi on a bus? Because the aerospace technology is on the bus. The same ADSB technology that you use on a private jet to access the internet and do business and so on is on every single public transportation bus in Singapore. Why is it not on our buses? Why can't we have internet on the buses as well? Same thing, because we don't have the ability to put that kind of logistics in place. So what makes the government think that this tap and go is going to work seamlessly? It is a fallacy. It is a delusion. And again, all it is trying to implement a role, or trying to play a role to implement a system that will work against the population of this country. And so help me God, I will never cease to put the facts and the information in front of the public for them to make their own decision and do their own research. We're not talking about a system that is going to work. It is not going to work as advertised. It will become a farce in a very short space of time.
Mr. Corbin, thank you so much for what you have shared tonight. Heather or Caswell, do you have any questions for him?
I do have a question, Mr. Corbin. So ideally,
Can you hear Mr. Corbin?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead. He can hear.
Well, here in New York, they have this, people on the buses, people can still use cash. They have the cars that you described, and they also have some sort of reader that automatically deducts your fare from your bank card, but there is no central pin that connects you to government for government to observe whatever. And I find that the three methods that they have here work quite well. And I don't think that the government here would institute a system which has a universal PIN for everyone, because there will be too much of a pushback from the people. Although some people think that New York is such an advanced society. Cash is still used here on a wider basis. Some people who rent their facilities only rent with cash. They only accept cash payments. So I think that we must cater to the entire society. There must be some more that they fit into and not go to a system that would cause people to exclude many people, to exclude a greater part of the population. That could never be right. The government has to be a caring and sensitive government and cater to everyone. And it should be the government for the people, not of the people. I think that is where we fall down. We always think that government should have people under a tight fist, but that is not the way governance should be. It is for the people. That is how it should work. And it should come from the needs of the people. And right now, the people in Barbados do not need a system that crushes them. Basically, that is just what the system is designed to do.
Yeah. Any comments on that, Mr. Corbin?
No, I completely agree that the government should be for the people and for the needs of the people. At the end of the day, we seem to have a disconnection that has been put in place by the government, self-imposed disconnection of the government from the people, because they believe that as long as they're in power, that they have the ability to dictate to everyone else what should be happening. When really and truly we have 30 individuals in there that know absolutely nothing about how to run a country.
Yeah.
Far less to be able to put anything in place with regard to a proper payment scheme for the traveling sovereign nationals of this country to go to work every single day. And as far as I am concerned, this is one issue, okay, that the sovereign nationals of Barbados need to stand up and take issue with right away. Simply because a digital ID that prevents you from traveling also has the ability to disconnect you from society. And when it comes to disconnection from society, that is domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
Okay?
And you know, on Saturday coming up, we have a march, and one of the areas that we are marching about is transparency and accountability, because we do believe that this government, that they misled the people, they misled us, they lied to us about these digital ID cards. And so, as Mr. Corbin is saying, we must take a decisive stance against this. We must stand up, as Mr. Caswell said. Don't wait until you know what it's going to affect you. Stand up, stand up, stand out. Come out in your numbers on Saturday. We are taking a stand against this digital ID. We want answers. They got to come and explain to us. Come and don't creep up anything on us. Don't try to trick us. You know, there's something here on the screen just before. Let me see, Mr. Franklin, you had a question for Mr. Corbin? Sorry.
I had a comment because Mr. Corbin, like most people in Barbados, think that this is the government that is doing this. The government isn't doing this. The government is
you're not hearing
to do this.
Okay, you're not hearing Caswell?
No, I'm not. Sorry.
You're not hearing Caswell. Okay. Okay, how do I let me see if I can.
Just put the phone next to your speaker.
Right, that's what I'm doing. Okay, let me speak, Caswell.
Yes, you see, a lot of people think that this is this incompetent government that is implementing these policies. They are given these policies to implement because Barbados is a good case study. We are small, we are a control group. Barbados is a control group. So a lot of these things that are happening to Barbados now, the Prime Minister goes out, getting instructions to come back and doing it to us. So because these people do not even understand the technology that they are implementing. They don't have to. They're given it to implement, and they are doing their master's bidding. Their masters are not the people who voted for them. The masters are not the people of this country. So we have, in order to finish this and to make sure this nonsense stops, is to get rid of them, you know. Mr. Corbin was quite right. They do not have a clue about running a country. And trust me when I tell you that that is why we have so many errors in the House and in the Senate, because I was told when I was in the Senate that our Senate, the Senate president, sent back more legislation to the House than any other Senate in the history of Barbados. You want to know why? Because they're just incompetent. You know.
But there's someone who said something here, and I lost the comment, but I'm going to find it back. And the comment was that this is Zashe Yearwood says, question our leader was asked by a first world country. It's by the US. It was by the US. You remember when she made, it was a speech that she made somewhere, and she was speaking with the US, and she said, if anybody can remember exactly where it was, Zashe.
It was a hearing, and one of the senators at the hearing said to her, but we don't have anything in the United States. So he asked her to explain what a digital ID was, because he didn't know. He was a senator, a United States senator. He said, we don't have none in the States. But why they don't have it in the States? They don't have it in the States because they want to implement it first, work out the kinks with us, then to implement it worldwide, or whoever else they can put it. So Barbados, that is why we get the joke from India first. We were the first people in the world to get it, right? So they wanted to see how it is done. Now they're using the ID cards on us. They're using it, and she is going overseas willingly because she thinks these people love her, and she go there and talk crap and make a few speeches. People say, I don't know why they want to stop talking. Because all they want from her is our subjects that we can be used as guinea pigs. I am not a guinea pig. I am not taking.
Well, they're using our elderly. There's nowhere else in the Caribbean that this is being done right now. Jamaica pushed back against it. I remember the bad boys in Jamaica say if they think they're coming with that, all of them going to gang up against Wholeness, and he pushed back. They had to push it back, right? So here we are in Barbados, and they believe that they can come and put jobby on us, and we take it, right? If in America they were shocked. I remember watching that, Zane, Zashe. I remember watching that, and they were shocked that she was talking about digital ID, right? And they said when we ourselves we don't have that. We don't have that in America, but you are talking about that for Barbados. I remember they were asking her, and this is what we are going to stay here and take. Mr. Corbin, you're saying something?
You know what the irony of that whole situation was? Is that she was sitting in Congress, testifying to Congress, telling them about digital ID that they had no knowledge of, but she had used their money to put it in place, and they didn't even know.
Well, whatever she did, I'm telling you, I think that as Barbadians, that we need to come out on Saturday and let it be known. Do up your placards, okay? I don't know, Mr. Caswell. Franklin will have people coming to his office again to do placards. But if not, create your own. We will tell you, but start getting ready and put what you need to put on your placard, right? Get ready, because we need to let them know, no, you're not going to try out anything on us here. We are not guinea pigs, right? You're not going to try it out. So Saturday, come out. Let us stand together. Right? We are no scapegoat, and we're no guinea pigs, right? We are people, and they're not going to come and try to get on our elderly. If we don't fight for the elderly, who going to fight for them? Who going to fight for them? We have to fight for them. Yes, Mr. Corbin, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
You're very welcome, Marcia. My pleasure.
Yes, hope to see you on Saturday, and bring people with you. We're asking everybody to bring at least 5 persons with you. It's more than, don't just share. Actually pick up the phone and call people and invite people. Promote it. All right, blessings.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yes, Heather, that's a good point that you made there, that in New York, people are allowed to do their different, they have options, right? They have options. And here, the way it is going, we're fearing there will not be any options. But unless we have to stand up and make sure that there are options, right, Mr. Franklin?
If we do not stand up, we will be a nation of drones, almost like South Korea, where our dear leader will be. You know, in South Korea, they have a dear leader, and then they had some other type leader and all kind of stuff. But she will be our dear leader, and
You
whatever she
mean
says
North
goes.
Korea? North Korea, not South.
North Korea. Sorry, Ma, I said North Korea. She has those kind of tendencies. She wants to be the dear leader. She wants to control everything. You know, out there in North Korea, even the haircut is regulated. Men can have to cut their hair in a particular way. I cut mine like this, so I hope they don't want me to do any fancy stuff. You know, she might legislate that too. We don't want a government to infringe all of our activities. We just want a government to lead this country, not to tie us to all the LGBT nonsense, all the the digital this and the joke stuff. Our doctors in Barbados had no clue what they were talking about, but they implemented it because the government wanted to implement it, and those poor doctors couldn't say no. So they went ahead and they did what they thought they had to do to save their jobs. We got to stand up for our rights. We have to tell this government, we did not elect you to become dictators. You got to listen to us. They're not now listening to us. That must stop.
You know, somebody here saying, you know, the members of cabinet, it's almost like they're in agreement with every policy the PM wants to put in place. I never see anything like that. I sit, you know, I have a team of people that help me to run the school. We have teachers, you have students, and you have meetings with them, and they, you know, sometimes you have dissenting voices. So I don't understand what could really be going on if all of them are in agreement with all of these things that's happening. Heather, I don't understand.
Well, I can show you why it is so. We have people who greedy.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't come to Parliament to serve the people of this country. They come to Parliament to get rich. So the Prime Minister knows their Achilles heel. She knows that they want money. She knows that they have to move a lot of them. So she gives them money. She made almost everybody a minister, and then except the people who must constitute offices in the House. You have to have a speaker, a deputy speaker, chairman of committees. So then she made everybody a minister, a parliamentary secretary, and only had a couple of other people on the backbench. Those people on the backbench now are becoming they're having some other committees now, and they're going to make them chairman of committees and get them another $3,000. So you see, this people going to speak up against her because they get money in the pocket. So far, it has not been published in the official gazette, but the information is already out where you're going to have other people now, like Tony Moore. She can come a chairman of some other committee. Mind you, the other committees, the only body going to be paid will be the chairman. Right? So you're going to have now everybody in Parliament will have additional perks that the Prime Minister can withdraw. So if you don't, if you want to stand up against the Prime Minister or withdraw your chairmanship or whatever, the only body who's got the guy Raw, then she said, oh, from next week, Cynthia Ford will be deputy speaker. And the Prime Minister doesn't have that authority, but she thought she did because in the 30 plus years that she was in the House, she never learned the rules. Because the deputy speaker is elected by the members of the House. And even though the Prime Minister usually gets over who she wants, if that person is supposed to make office, they must resign or they must have a debate to remove the fellow from office. They don't want to have that debate. And the man is moving. He's the only body that stood up. And he's the dumbest of the lot. But he's the only one that stood up.
Mm.
What I could say is that actually what is happening seems to be, well, the sum of everything that is happening seems to be causing the death of democracy in Barbados. There is nowhere in the world that there is a functioning parliament where bills and acts and so on are not debated. If it is a one-man show, it means that it is not a democracy. So I think that we have to come to terms with the fact that if we, the people, do nothing about what is happening, that we're going to wake up one morning and find out that we've lost all of our democratic rights. And essentially, the island would no longer be a republic. It would be some communist, whatever. So we are looking at the death of democracy in Barbados. There was something that I wanted to touch on recently. There was a show, I think it was 2 days ago, when they spoke about the incident in New York. But I want to highlight that the government spent $75,000 of the government's money was spent to rent a bus. When we have
20 seats, Heather, 20 seats on the bus.
20 seats on the bus.
Don't give me a whole bus.
All right,
Because the bus seated 86 seats, I think.
Okay.
And 20. So we have, is that a third of the bus or a quarter? About a quarter of the bus we paid for.
And I want to know what kind of debate, discussion, or whatever went into that, because it is nonsense. You have people, too many homeless people in Bridgetown. And there was this video yesterday showed the hospital, the lights and the hospital are out. That $75,000 could have been put to better use in Barbados to benefit the taxpayers. All it did was to contribute to a waste of the taxpayers' money. And that, to me, that's the worst thing that I could have seen happen. So that is something that the people must go out and march against, the misuse of their taxpayers' funds. Don't take that lightly, because they did it once and they'll keep on doing it. And $75,000 took a lot of hard work out of the people of Barbados to accrue that much amount of money, twice the amount. And hardly anybody sees that money in the space of 1 year. So why should it go to a waste just to be impressive? No other country had a bus or were part of a bus on the parade. So to me,
yeah,
no,
that's true, because they said from what we understand, we have to say from what is being alleged is that there were no other Caribbean country had bought any seats in this particular bus. It's only Barbados. And I'm saying, if we are here suffering so much, I mean, someone just send me something, said that, can anyone tell me why is the health of Bajans being held at ransom between Light and Power and Her Majesty Hospital? Anyone can tell me why Her Majesty Hospital working off of a generator? Anyone can tell me what powers a generator after it runs out of power? I asking for a friend. And here are people, they're sick in a hospital and electricity is gone. And yep. I heard that for a moment the generators didn't even kick in. But we were the only country, it's alleged that we were the only country that had bought 20 seats in a bus, rented 20 seats in an 86-seater bus.
$75,000, 20
and it is right. And you know what? If it's not, this is what was reported, and what we with this show, what we always ask is transparency and accountability. We need the government to tell us, is this true? Because they didn't announce it, but it is what was reported out of New York. So we need the government to come and to tell the people, did you spend 75,000? Is this Barbados or US dollars that you decided to spend on a bus?
When it had US dollars.
It had to, because people only quote US dollars in America, right? So
Yeah.
we are assuming, we don't know, but we're assuming it's US. So therefore is why we need the authorities. We need somebody in tourism, Mr. Franklin, to tell us, did you spend $75,000? You know how much money that is?
Yep, too much money. The
No,
average person will not see that.
but tell me something. How long was that parade? How many hours?
I don't even know if it was 6 hours. And the bus, I don't think it was 6 hours.
Okay, let me
I
call
don't
it 6
think so.
hours. That is $75,000 divided by 6. Cheese on bread. You can imagine how expensive those it were, because I ain't talking about no season pass or anything like that, for 20 people. I am talking about 6 hours at $75. I'm sorry, 75 divided by 6 is how much? That's $12,500 per hour. Do you realize that? The only body
No,
that kind of money, the only body that kind of money is Avinash Prasad.
The man with the fake English accent, the Bajan with the fake English accent. Listen, $75,000 is what has been reported. Come on, we need to hear from the BTMI. It's our money. Bajans, they need to tell us, did you spend this money for 20 seats? Them seats must align with gold, and when you sit on it, it warm up your bottom. Right? They must warm up your bottom or something, or give us whatever it does. I don't know what them seats do. Why was that necessary? Jamaica did not have a bus. Belize did not have a bus.
No, Haiti
Antigua
didn't have
a bus. Poor Haiti. Haiti didn't have no bus.
There are the Haiti and the Dominican Republic has the largest representations for the West Indian Carnival, and none of them had a bus.
Heather's in New York. Heather, were you at the parade?
I watched it on TV. I didn't bother to go because it was streamed live, and I saw the bus, but I didn't know then that there was an incident.
Right, we were because why Barbados love to do that, to live pretending, as I said, you have Mobby. We said you have Mobby pockets or something. How does that saying go?
Champagne taste and Mobby pockets.
Champagne taste and Mobby pockets. Mobby pockets, because listen, we here now and we in the hospital in darkness. You should be shamed.
Exactly.
You should be shamed. And then you remember the guy here saying Mr. the from the Defense Force said that the hospital had to borrow an X-ray machine. And I'm hearing that an X-ray machine for they with their tent, they set up outside, but they bought for the hurricane. The hurricane won't blow them and the tent away. But anyway, at the stadium, and they had to borrow. They had to borrow from David Clark and his very expensive hospital that he's so proud of up there. The QH had to borrow from them, and not only that, I saw another thing going around that it's charity saying that they were begging the QH, begging them money to buy some equipment that does eye exams. For eye exams, so $38,000. I don't know. I saw that someone sent that to me. I'm not sure if that report is true. But if that is so, that money that was used could probably buy 4 eye examination machines for the QAH. This is ridiculous.
Ridiculous, yes. The government is squandering this money.
No, but you're talking about squandering money and all kind of stuff. But I'm thinking about a patient there who has to depend on the power, because he's hooked up to all these little machines and then things goes blank, and that poor fellow no wondering if I dead, you know what I mean? Because everything gone out. Because when you go to the hospital, I've been to the hospital where they had me on a lot of machines and all kind of stuff too, and they would have hit and found out that in the middle of the night, not even during that the power go off. As I'm during the day, power go off. I still see the sun. But in the middle, you saw the video of the person in the air, and he's saying, all you can see is darkness and somebody behind there talking. Now that is, imagine now you have people in that room, they call the stat room at the back where they have the more uh, the people that are very ill in there, and and then their machines and everything go off because inside there, if without light, you don't see your hand. You know, if the face becomes pitch black, there's no way for natural light to see it. Mind you, there's no natural light like that in the night. But the question must be asked: what happened to the emergency generator? Is it being maintained? Because Public Workers Credit Union, to my certain knowledge, had a generator, and if the power goes off here, boom, and the credit union is still working. You know, I really feel that people who are responsible for that roof should pay the ultimate price for it. No, you can't do this. You know, at the credit union, nobody's going to die if you have to wait another hour to get your money out the ATM.
That's true.
But somebody's going to die if the machines that is keeping you alive don't all of a sudden not get any juice. And I ain't hearing nothing about it. People just sitting there keeping quiet. Something must happen.
So we have to find out if people died.
But I've been hearing rumors to the fact that at least one person died as a result. But I don't know that for a fact. But not that I'm surprised if only one. Because, you know, you had ICU, people in ICU. God knows what happened to them. So I'd be surprised if only one person died. And if none died, come out and tell me so. Don't leave us, right?
Someone here says silence in the face of evil is itself evil. God would not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak, not to act is to act. And that is what I want. This is supposed to be a religious country, although I see that Peter Wickham is trying to say that we are what's the word he used? It's with S. Like he would say we're non-religious. So we are. Why is it slipping me? It's gonna come back.
Atheist?
He didn't say atheist, but there's another word, and it's a simple word, but it's just not coming to my head right now. But I just want to speak to those of you. So I see people on here quoting scriptures and so on. I hope that when you're quoting the scriptures tonight, but you're going to come out on the street on Saturday. Because as this verse, as Hurricane Writer says, silence in the face of evil, it's evil, is itself evil. God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak. Not to act is to act. So while we are, yes, we have a church on every corner, and we love to be in church on a Sunday and on a Saturday. I am hoping, especially those that go to church on a Sunday, are out on Saturday, because I know that the Sabbath keepers would not be out. But everybody else out on Saturday, we can't just sit on here and type. You're beautiful. You're really in on the program. The numbers are climbing. People are on. But we're gonna take more than that, right? We're gonna take more than that to come out, right? And as someone says here, if the poor isn't a priority, don't see how healthcare will be a priority. You're right. You're right. So now we don't even care. We know that we don't know what is happening there at the hospital. Anybody knows if the electricity came back on? Does anybody know? Because I got the message again this evening. Secular. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Yeah, he's trying to say that this is a secular country. I don't know how he get up and decide that Barbados is a secular country. This is the Peter Wickham. Right?
Leave him to Lumumba.
Listen, you're not going to get me to that tonight. Listen, I can't tell you that joke on here, Heather. I can't tell you that joke. But listen, this is what they're trying to do, because they're trying to, it's all in the mind. They want us to change our mindsets, because they want us to prepare for what they want to do to us. So now the whole thing is that he's pushing this thing that that Barbados is a secular country. Okay, this is what they're pushing, because this is what they want to push, right? Yeah, but listen, this is, I'm so glad you brought that up. You brought that up, Heather, about that, the spending. And I don't know if that issue is resolved as yet. I heard that it's Monday that they're going to meet. They were supposed to meet, and he keep pushing back. But let me tell you, that's America. And make sure, if it is true that that woman was pushed and her picnic fall down, let me tell you, it's not going to end like that. It's not Barbados where everybody they wave like a red shirt and we drink the red Kool-Aid and everybody gone to sleep. It's not happening like that. Those people gonna fight. Okay? They will fight you. All right? They will fight you. So I want to know what is gonna happen. I see everybody they're sending me all kinds of things, trying to discredit those that brought the news. But really, you can't look at the people who brought the news. You must look at those that the allegations are against. Why was something, if there was nothing in it, why the meeting? Why they even meeting? Why are they even meeting? Why is there a need for mediation? Ever thought about that, right, Heather? Why are they using the word mediation? Of what?
Right.
And of whom?
If nothing happened, there would be no meeting.
I know mediation. What you mean? What kind of mediation needs to happen? Right? But we wanna talk a bit, Mr. Franklin. We have Vincent Smith. He's supposed to be coming in, for a couple of minutes to talk to us about that child protection bill, because that's one of the other areas that we are going to highlight as we march on Saturday. And I know you were telling me today, Mr. Franklin, that you had a chance to read through the bill, and you yourself have some concerns about it.
Well, but basically, articulated my concerns with when the lawyer was here last. But that piece of legislation should never have gotten anywhere near Parliament. It's too flawed. There are too many areas in the act where people can be penalized for things that are not specific. Right? I'll give an example where a child can, when I use cutting the hair, that could be abuse if the child don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, in my mind, you can go to jail if you don't have enough money to support your child, because you are denying the child now support. It can be, such support can be termed in two ways. It's either failing to give the child, could also be termed abuse, because if you don't provide. But some people don't support their children, not because they can't, they want, they can, and they don't want to. It is just that some people lose their jobs. I know of a man who lost his job, and he was trying everything possible to support his children, pick up bottles, do every kind of thing, but it just couldn't make it. He would end up in jail. They did everything possible. Unfortunately, you see, our society is a lick and lock up society, where rather than try to solve problems or work things, to see what is the real problem, you penalize somebody based on the fact that they did something wrong, not understanding that I did something wrong because, like for instance, the fellow who stole a piece of cheese, yeah, that was a crime, but we're gonna lock him up because he got busy, he felt hungry. I would prefer him not to steal, but the law says you're not supposed to steal, so you're gonna lock him up for stealing. Not then that fellow should say, well, let me see if we can find a job for him, so that he wouldn't have to steal. But no, we lock up. So this act is replete with penalties, and they give so many people some power over. I want to pull it up and pull something out. Pull it up. To show what people are up against in this society, Parliament. I'm looking for the bill. So I don't have the bill in front of me. I had it last time, but I got to search for it. We what we must do is to make sure that bill, in the form that it is, does not see the light of day. Because we didn't have any real consultation on that bill. It was just imposed. I think what this government is doing with us is to try to get us to react and see how far they can push us. And when they see that they can push us this far, it's like a bully. If you keep pushing and you don't stand up, they push them more. And I suspect that this child protection bill, this pensions bill, this national insurance thing, all of these are along the same lines. You're pushing the people to see when they will say stop. And if they don't say stop, you will just continue.
Yes. You know, I see a pattern with all of them. And I was so glad that the lawyer was on the other night, and we were waiting on Vincent Smith to be on. I saw him on earlier, but it seemed to be having a technical issue. He keeps dropping off, and we want to just look at this a little bit more. You know, all of the okay, I think he's here now. Mr. Vincent Smith, he's here. And can you hear me, sir? Yes, can you, okay. We can't hear you. That's the problem. Your audio can't hear you.
Check his audio. Tell him to check his audio.
Check your audio. Yeah. You know, and so this is one of the areas that, you know, we are going to be marching about and against this bill, because in its present form, we're saying go back, go and come again. Of course, we know that children need to be protected. I don't know if you heard, Heather, what happened here in Barbados over the last, I want to say over the weekend. I have to say that it occurred, you know, we heard about it over the weekend, about this young boy. We heard about it Friday or Thursday, actually. A young boy who, you know, it was as awful to even think about it, but who was sexually assaulted by, you know, by a teacher, by a male teacher here in Barbados. Well, you know, thankfully they said that the case is before the courts, and we thank God for that. But then there are other cases that we were being told right here on this program of other leaders within the school, within the school, let's put it like that, setting, and who, you know, there's a 14-year-old girl who is now pregnant, and it's been almost a year and nothing has come of it as yet. Right?
I think that having males or teachers in general be attracted to today's students, rather, that is an act of grooming, especially for the boys. And that has been going on for decades, but it never comes to light.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you see, you hear, and then nobody does anything about it. I don't know if the children are threatened, the parents are threatened, or whatever, but it has been happening for a while. But to me, it doesn't reach the stage where there is a national protest or anything about. Nobody speaks so on a large scale about things like that. And so things happen. I remember a while ago that a young man was imprisoned because he killed someone. And the reason why he killed him is because the man had groomed him to do acts on him. And I don't think, yes, he ended up killing the guy, but he ended up in prison for it. And that is never put into consideration. The causes, the underlying cause, not the consequence. The causes are never explained. And when we see some children fall into patterns of deviant behavior, it is because of things like that that happened to them when they were in theirs, probably at school or during their school age years. But we don't do anything about it in Barbadian society. So perhaps now is the time to speak out, to stop it right now. So I don't want
yes.
to fail that young man.
You made a good point there, Heather, because some time ago, I had to be at a school. I'm not going to call the school's name, and to represent the principal because he had refused to allow a teacher to come back to school. He was a temporary teacher, and when his contract was supposed to be, wanted it renewed, but the children had complained about him, even though he told the children, if you complain about me, I really run you over my car.
Mm-hmm.
So when the principal found out about that, he decided he ain't come back here. And this man went to the union. And the union brought a complaint against the principal, Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, not BUT. He went to the union to complain that for the principal. And I represented the principal at that meeting. The first of all, I told her that I said to the board, the members of the board, well, I said, listen to me. After the union outlined its position, I said, let me tell you something. You have no authority here to bring him to any meeting. And what he has, he does not work for you. He works for the Ministry of Education. He works for the Governor General through the Ministry of Education, not for you. The board has no authority over him. So the union, I said, oh, but we have a custom and practice. I said, I don't care how much custom and practice you got. Custom and practice must first be legal before you can establish a custom and practice. What you're doing the practice must be legal.
Mm-hmm.
They keep arguing. I said, okay, let me give an example. Let's say I'm a murderer. I kill people. I do it all the time. And I finally killed one last fella and the police catch me. And my defense cannot be, oh, it's a customer price, kill people all the time. Of course, the board had a good laugh. We might have finished there. But you can see this guy threatening the children. He said if they complain for him, he want to see them and run over his car.
Look at that.
You know, and mind you, it wasn't sexual. It was some other things happening in the school, but he didn't want the children. He didn't want his behavior was such that he didn't want the parents to know, and he told them if they complain, he can run them over.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got backing from his union, but that wouldn't happen with many unions that I am involved in. But so children are definitely scared into, and mind you, in some of them, you must tell these young children, know your place, because some of the little girls present themselves, and these weak bastards trouble them. I'll tell you what should happen. You know the age of consent, and we've had children who were 16 at school, and the teachers got away with it. As a matter of fact, we had one at Harrison College who got his one of the students pregnant, and the
somebody's saying that they're not hearing anything at all. Are you guys hearing? Can you hear Kendall, Frederick? Can you, Nigel? Okay, so Ramim, you need to check your devices. Okay, continue, please. Yes.
Yeah. And he got his one of his students pregnant, but the girl was 16. Mm-hmm. So the responsibility, but he was a husband. Because this is a number of years ago. I think he subsequently got married to the child after all that thing, and then they transferred him to Queen's College, you know. But so we have a lot of stuff happening in the school right now. Any teacher, whether the child is 16 or 60, if you are responsible for a person in school, it should be a crime for you to have any sort of sexual relation with that child. I don't care the age. Mm-hmm. Because you have an undue influence over that child. You're supposed to guide them. And like I said some time ago in this program that the age of majority is 18. You can have sex at 16, but you can't vote. That's what is more important, what is more fundamental, what is more important. But you know, our laws were made by dirty old men, you know, and they want every little girl. No, trust me, they don't care. They want these very young, tender little things. So they keep the age of consent at 16, and then you can tell that same 16-year-old girl you can make a decision to have a child and get sex and all kind of stuff, but you can't vote. Well, I think that is a more fundamental thing than voting. I feel like if you can decide that you want to have sex and you can potentially get a child and have a raise a child, you should be able to vote.
You could be a parent.
Nobody's saying that.
You know?
Yeah. You could become a parent.
Yeah, but you see,
But you can,
all of
but you
these
can
things.
chance to vote. But I suspect either the age of consent should go up or the age of majority should come down. And I don't believe that I should have any 18-year-old, 16-year-old in my house who is an adult. And I can't direct them. So I feel it should really be going up. Everything should go up to 18.
I think so.
That is just my view. But because this is the view of a person who's not a dirty old man.
Right. But you know, you have a lot of these things happening to our children. I see someone from Canada here, and Kendall, and she's just shocked about what we're talking about, and it's happening. And as you said, there's a case there right now that we don't, you know, it's like they're not doing anything about it. But let me see, Mr. Smith is in. Vincent, let's hear you. He's having some challenges in his area. All the Digicel lines are down. And so he's having a challenge. He's trying his best. So it's not his fault. Vincent, can you say anything? Is still not hearing him? No. All right. So we will arrange for tomorrow night, Vincent. Vincent, why don't you turn off your video? Turn off your video and let's see if that will work. That might give you enough bandwidth because there's a problem in his in the area with Digicel. So it's not his fault. Can you turn off your let's turn off your yes, and let's see if we can hear you in terms of the bandwidth. Hi Vincent. Still not hearing him. Still not hearing. Okay. Well, we will do it tomorrow night then, Heather. We'll do it tomorrow night.
Marsha, let me go on some more than she's here. You see, we must stop pushing things under the rug. When I was a little boy going to school, there was a principal who got more than one of his students pregnant. And when they caught him, at first, what they did, they gave him leave to go to Jamaica to study so that the things would cool down, you know. So he had political influence. He had people who could put on his side. And what the ministry did, the ministry took out his money every month to pay maintenance for the children. And that's how it was solved. He spent a day in jail. And trust me when I tell you that I used to see this man on TV talking about all kind of fancy things. He was very well respected.
You're saying that happened right here in Barbados. A man that
here in Barbados when it was
well respected.
I know the young. I can't say young girl, no, because she's an old woman. No, because she's my age now. But she had a child. At least this one had a child from the principal. She was a student at his school. You know, so this is and this was known to the ministry. So the Ministry of Education is known for covering up. They do not deal with the issue. You know, over and over, all these things happen to people's children, and rather than come and say, okay, if this happened, let's see if we can fix it, they try to deny it. Their first thing is to deny it the cover. So they don't want people to know what is the rot that is happening in this society. It's just getting worse now.
Yeah, but they instead, you know, it's so amazing how they, as someone is saying, they cover up the same Ministry of Education. These are the same ones that gave our children that test or that survey without the parental consent, and through the Child Protection Bill, which I'm sorry Vincent isn't able to speak on it tonight, but he will do so tomorrow night. We see where they're trying, you know, Heather, to remove parental rights. Yes. Basically, they're trying to remove or reduce parental rights and to give the rights over to the state. And you and I know, because you and I were part of that group that helped to bring down that GIS, yes, where the government industrial schools, where those children were put in the care of the state. And look at how they treated those children. And here is a bill, the Child Protection Bill, which is giving the basically reducing the right of the parent and turning over the rights to the state. Can we really trust the state to take care of our children? Hearing what Mr. Franklin is saying, Heather?
No, we can't. If the state could not adequately take care of 5 girls in an institution, how can they take care of every child that there is in Barbados? It can't happen. It's not going to happen. So what we must strive to do is to push back that bill as well, because it can never work. It's to the detriment of the family and children in Barbados. It will destroy both.
You see
Yeah.
what this bill will do, right? It will strengthen the children's hand with if they want to change sex. They can't change sex, but we got too many people in the world think they can do it. You know, I saw.
Well, you're saying that the bill here, the bill in its current form, what you think it has a possibility of strengthening the children in requesting for for them to change their sex, change their gender.
If you fight against the child doing that, it can be termed abuse under this legislation. Because abuse is so wide in this legislation, almost anything can become abuse. You shot at the child too hard, that's abuse. You know what I mean? Anything that was abuse. So we have to be very careful, because these bills that we get involved in, I find that and these surveys are mostly recruiting tools, because we have to answer to another power. I can't say higher power, another power who direct what happens in Barbados. The Barbadian politicians are not in charge of what is happening in this country. We take directions from people outside. We following this LGBTQ nonsense. We following the joke nonsense. We follow all kinds of things that isn't wholesome for the society. We have our own set of standards. Why nobody is imposing these things on Saudi Arabia and Qatar and those things? Wait. You can hear all kinds of nonsense. People, the United States say if you don't, and they go to Africa and they're telling them if you don't legalize gay marriage and homosexuality among concerned adults, then you are not giving people their human rights. Why they don't go and tell Saudi Arabia that? Why they're coming for the black people? They want exterminators, because trust me when they tell you, 2 men will never breed. 2 rams do not make a lamb, and they don't want black people around, So if they get enough of us doing that nonsense, being a breed, so they will diminish the black people in this country, and black people following it,
Following, correct.
Are you aware that homosexuality is not natural? It's something learned. There are some African countries when they were bringing slaves from Africa, that the black people did not know what homosexuality was. Some of them, in their language, there was no word for it. It is something that the conquerors, when they didn't take their wives when they went up to fight in Africa and in India, when they were conquering these places, they didn't take their wives, so they had to have an outlet, so they did it with each other. That's where it started among the white people. And black people like the copies, so we copying it now too. That's all it is, And now all of a sudden it's a human right. And now I'm hearing that they have how many genders again?
I don't know, it's 100 and something. This is crazy.
I heard, no, somebody put it like this. He says there were 150. Fellow said there are 150 genders. The response was no. There are 2 genders and 140 mental conditions.
but we're laughing. But it's really true. It's a mental disorder, and they're wanting confusion, because what happened with this child protection bill in its present form, if we allow it to be in its present form, anything can go underneath that as abuse, as it says. Because I was reading up something on the Present is ready. I'm sorry. In Canada, where the child, Mr. Franklin, wanted to change his sex to female, and the parents said no. And guess what? The state came and took the child out, Heather, out of the home and said that it was the parents is abusing the child,
Wow.
and they allowed the child to get the procedure. The state facilitated the procedure for the child. And so part of the concern that we're having with this child protection bill is the breadth of it. It is so wide that it's ambiguous. We don't know what it means. And the concern is that for any little thing, the child can be removed from the home. Or you can be fined $100,000 or 10 years in jail, the maximum you could get, because they're considering the parents of abusing the child. We know we know what child abuse is, but they need to be clear on what it is that they're saying.
The persons who are creating these laws don't have children, and they don't know what it is like to raise children. If they did, they would not want these laws, because you have, regardless to whoever your child is, even if they're good or bad, you have to discipline children so that they will know. You have to discipline them and you have to guide them. And if we leave the world wide open for them to do anything, in the end, we would not have been successful parents, because you have to teach your children the way they should go. I firmly believe that. And a sign of successful parenting for any person in Barbados, rather, could be, as my mother used to put it, that the police never came at her door asking for none of her children. And if we let children do what they feel like, what do you think would happen?
Correct. And this is
We would
what
have a society
that's
of
what
white and deviant people.
that's what they're pushing with this child protection bill. We've been discussing about corporal punishment of children, and that is not even going when they institute this bill. Let me tell you that is going to go out the window, and they know it, and so they are creeping. They're putting these things in, and this is one of the reasons that we have to go out there on Saturday.
Exactly.
Parental rights. So your right as a parent, you went to mothers, you went in the hospital and you push out them children. You made the children father and mother, egg and sperm. You came together, and now they are wanting to put measures in place to take your children out of your house. Right?
Yep.
That's what they're trying to do. I think Mr. Franklin is trying to say something.
They put their sperm up the back passage, and no one tell people how to run their own children.
Exactly.
I trust me. I don't want people. Heather, you're quite right. They don't have any.
You don't have the children.
And they don't. But they want to tell everybody. One of the definitions, neglect of a child means the failure of a parent of a child to provide the child with adequate care and guidance. That's okay. I have no problem with that part. But then the one that is so wide, that it could be anything. It says any other act or omission by the parent with respect to a child that is inappropriate for the child or likely to be harmful to the child. What does that mean? I don't know.
Me
I don't
either.
think I hazard a guess. But what does that mean?
Because it
Any
says
other
likely.
act or omission by the parent with respect to a child that is inappropriate for the child or likely to be harmful to the child. What does that mean? Tell me what I mean. But that is an offense. But an offense must be specific. You must know that if you do something, you do A or B, you'll be punished for it. You must not know that somebody has to determine now down the road, something that could be, no. A crime, anything that you do, you should know that if I do this here, I can be punished for it. Not left for somebody to say, something, when we evaluate this, it is a crime. Nah, that doesn't make sense. Because anything then could become neglect.
Anything.
But You know
Go
what
ahead. Go
boggles
ahead.
my mind? That here comes the government with these set of laws to try to change people when they need the laws to change themselves. When they put the laws in place to change their behavior in Parliament, then we should listen to the regulations and the laws that they have for the people, because it don't make no sense. Everything that they are trying is to put the people in a corner and to expand their own powers over the people. But it doesn't work that way. It can't work that way.
You ever give a child a couple of lashes and that child didn't get any pain?
If
But
I
you
give him lashes, he deserves to feel
no, but
pain.
I'm saying, but he doesn't get any pain. No,
Listen.
it is physical abuse means any act or omission by a perpetrator which causes pain or injury to the body of a child and includes bullying. Now, if I give my child a slap, he can get some pain, you know. So that's physical abuse.
And just so people know, Mr. Franklin is reading word for word from the bill. I'm so sorry we can't put it up on the screen, but this is word for word in the bill. Go ahead, read. Can you read it again, Mr. Franklin? Know that
It
people know
says
you're reading word for word from the
physical
child
abuse
protection bill.
means physical abuse means any act or omission by a perpetrator which causes pain or injury to the body of a child and includes bullying. So you can give a child a slap, and that slap will cause pain. You become a perpetrator now, as opposed to be a parent, and then you can tell me, no, I can be charged for this. So right now you will have children running the show, you know. You can't speak to them too loudly because you can't raise your voice at them. You can't get them a slap. You can't take away their privileges because that would be abuse. You know, so the only thing you'll be left to do with a child is to feed it.
To feed it. That's it. And the moment you don't have enough food for them, that is neglect. It's all the child is
Yeah.
in charge. This bill puts the child in charge and in charge of their lives. That's not how we operate as Caribbean people. That is changing the ethos. That's changing our culture. That's
Right.
changing who we are. That's not who we are. And it's a little bill, it's not even a lot of pages, but this is a very, very dangerous bill. Go ahead, Heather.
What it will do is destroy all the morals and values that we have in the society, because knowledge is imparted and rearing is imparted from a parent to a child. And if the parent can't raise his child, what will we have? We won't have functioning families. We will have anarchy. All of the values and morals that we should be passing on to our children, we will not be able to. So we will have some sort of baseless society. So the state would have won, and we can't let that happen.
Not the only state would have won, the international community would have won because
The
these
international
people
community would
out
have
there,
won.
the people out there in the national community are talking about having sex with minors and legalizing it. They're talking about having gay sex. So we want to sign on and listen here. This act, they said the purposes of this act, the purpose of this act shall be to ensure compliance with United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, that's 1, 2, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and all other international instruments to which Barbados is a party, with special regard to those which afford a child the necessary protection and assistance so that he can assume his eventual responsibilities within the community and for the full and harmonious development of his personality and to grow up in a family environment imbued with happiness, love, and understanding. Again, nebulous, because we don't know what all other international instruments that Barbados have signed on to. Because I'll tell you something. You know, they had a man sentenced to hang, an attorney at law in Barbados, I think it was Pilgrim, said, but no, we sign off on this treaty, this international thing that says that we can't do it, we can't do, and people did not even know. because our ministers got government and they always got the pen out, they'll saying anything. We didn't know that we had signed on to it was the original one, where people now have to go to, I can't remember these specifically, but we have signed on to conventions that people in this country did not know that we had signed on to them. Our people just like to go to these things, and many people put a thing in front of the top, pretty to sit down. All they go for is the stipend, really, so they can get additional money. I'm going to go there to sign something. And we end up in that because then we find, oh, we can't enforce our laws that we have here, so we got to change them because we signed on to some international treaty that was not discussed with us. Yeah. That we know nothing about. So basically, all other international instruments, which Barbados is a party. Which other international things that we are party to? Because this will help me to get into other international things that we get parties to. We are international. We have signed on to the Protection of Wages Convention. We signed on to the Holidays Repair Convention with the ILO. But you think the government of Barbados pays those things any money? Because in that convention, you cannot take out more than a third of that man's money because you must leave him with something to feed his family. But Barbados signed on to that since 1967. I think it was the 8th of May 1967, if I remember correctly. And we still don't accept them. We go on like they don't exist. And the convention says that every person who receives a wage is covered by this act, by this convention. And people in the public service receive wages, but the government go and take up people's money. You have people working in public service, and next thing you know, they take all the money. I know one young lady working at the National Assistance Board. When at the end of her pay period, she didn't get any money deposited in the bank because they said she owed the money. And the money that was paid to her in error, she didn't know. And they took it all one time. And with my children here, thanks to Winston, because Winston, when I told Winston about it, Winston went and bought food stuff and clothes and that kind of thing for that family. All Winston, the people don't like, you know what I mean?
Right. Actually, somebody sent me a message here, guys. Send me a message. We're not going to spend time on it, but they said that this is what they're sending around to people. This is what they're saying. They're telling the Barbadians that Caswell and Lynette are disgruntled bees, and that Winston is a convict. He's an ex-convict. And lots of, listen, right? And the marchers are just fringe elements and should not be taken seriously. They're saying some nasty, negative things to get people to stay away from the marches. That we are just fringe, and that you are disgruntled, and Lynette is disgruntled, and all of that. That's what they're saying. But I think Barbadians need to prove them wrong. I need to decide that, listen, they're coming out. They're coming out on Saturday. We are marching. We do not want this child protection bill in its present form. The form, we want the children protected, but at the same time, we do not want the rights of the parents to be reduced. We do not want the rights of the parents to be taken away. That is important. Look at what's happening in our society now. Society is going to go worse. It's going to go worse because the state, we cannot trust the state to take care of our children. Look at what happened at GIS when they had 5 young ladies down there. The abuse that was meted out to those 5 young ladies. We cannot, I don't care what they do in other countries. We are telling them, let that stand where that is. Let them keep that over there. But where we are going to, our parents will have a say into the lives of our children. We're going to encourage our parents. We're going to, teach parents how to be parents. I think that's more what needs to happen than to be taking away their rights from them. Yeah. So
But no,
Saturday, yes,
Marcia,
go
what
ahead.
they're doing, they are not doing this to assist parents, to make them better parents. They are doing this because it is demanded of the people who lend them money. The same nonsense with the same survey that they call the computer thing. You remember that? That was
Yes.
not homegrown. This came from people who were lending us money. So we have to pay the piper. And those people and the piper is asking for our children. They don't want back they want back the money too, but they want our children as interest. That is the
Yeah.
problem. Our government is too cap in hand. They have this voracious appetite for money, so that they can pay $12,500 for a seat in a bus. You know,
To look important and to say only Barbados had the bus. But don't you realize, Heather and Mr. Franklin, that everything that they do, it turns bad. Like they expected that, guys. Do you see that everything that they expected that this would put them in such good light? Oh, we were the only country of all the Caribbean countries. We had our own bus, or I had 20 seats in this bus, and we didn't mix with the little minions on the ground and whatever. And look at it, it becoming a nasty fiasco. You see that?
Yes. What if the government of Barbados had concentrated on fixing the problems of Barbados? It has been how many years? This is 3 years? 5 years now. I think that we would have been way ahead by now. We would not be where we are. They have taken on problems. Money, the money that they took on gave them problems. So to me, it hasn't been worth it. They should have concentrated on fixing the problems of Barbados. As you said just now, Marcia, teach parents to be parents. That would have gone a long way instead of coming with a child protection bill that want to erode your rights. We could have done so many things. I don't think that the government should have gone to the IMF for funding. What Ms. Motley should have done was consolidated her loans. And if she had done that, she would have gotten a lower rate and be able to pay back. So instead of not being able to pay back one single loan or part of one loan in 5 years, she has probably tripled or quadrupled or 5 times or 10 times the amount of loans that she has. So in the end, no solutions have been put on the table. What we have seen is exponentially expanding the problems of Barbados, because money solves a lot of problems, but it is when you earn it and when you have it. You can't have money. You can't say that you have money in the consolidated fund when you have to pay it back. It is not really yours. So things were messed up too much. And we should have started off by fixing Barbados's problems, not putting ourselves in more problems.
If you fix Barbados problems, Barbados, the party will not be in power. They are the biggest problem that we have right now.
We need to fix it. Fix Barbados' problem. Get rid of them. Right?
Yes.
You know, because they have, in 5 years in power, 2 elections, and in 5 years, they have not done anything to uplift the society in any way. What they did, that they have victimized people. If you are them, you can't get a job. If you, mind you know, if you are a them and you got one, like a stall, you can't, but lock it in front of you. You know, they're just looking out to hurt people. But this partisan nonsense, they're looking for jobs. You get a job, you're not from my constituency, but you're working on one of my ministries or department, you gotta go. These people are just incompetent. They don't have any love for their fellow man. They just have love for what they can get and what they can get. You see that? These people came into office not to do something for this country. but to do something for themselves. The older politicians didn't get salaries and pensions and stuff. You should do it as a service. The salaries and pensions, I think, up in 1969. And then it get progressively higher because look, we come up with from the Westminster system. And under the Westminster system, the Prime Minister make the most money. The Permanent Secretary in the Prime Minister's ministry in England makes more money than the Prime Minister because they was doing the actual work. Because they expect you to have your own money, you know. They expect you to have your own money. They don't expect you to come in there and depend on the state for your finances. But we have a lot of hard-working people in Barbados right now who, prior to getting in the house, did not have a job or did not have a job that was paying them a decent salary, because a lot of them were either unemployed or unemployable. They get into a party and they find their way in the house, and now they because you get elected doesn't mean that you know what you're doing. Right. Election in this circumstance, it just means that you were popular enough, or your party was popular enough, or the other party didn't do what you were looking for, and you voted for them. There's no test, you know. There's no test to see if the politician knows what he's talking about. But he gets in there, and then all of a sudden he becomes an expert. And when they become an expert, like this Prime Minister is expert in everything.
But by the way, how many ministries is she over? How many ministries?
Must be all.
But quite frankly, she's over all, because the rest of them can't do anything unless she says so. But her portfolio, she has a number. I will have to look for it. I have it here in among my papers, but I've got to look for it. Because she had.
We need to look at that.
It comes out in the Senate. It comes out in the official gazette. What the ministries they have and what the portfolios are. The actual subjects, like for instance, she's Minister of Public Service as well. She's Minister of Defense and Security. She's Minister of Finance. You know, and she has. But I will have to check it out and get back to you. I cannot find it among my mess that I have here. My bookshelf. This bookshelf.
What we need is a visionary to run the country. We need them to share a vision of what the future should be like for Barbados, so that they can actually see and buy into it, not the gimmicks that they have in the manifesto, because clearly it has not worked for the people. Nope.
But if you look at the manifestos, are they doing anything that they said they would have done in the manifesto?
No.
They don't do that. The manifesto.
We should have a show. We should have a show. Remember, we did a show on the manifesto, Heather, a while ago.
We did, yes.
Before the elections, we need to sit down and look at that manifesto. We need to break it down, Heather. You should do that as something, you know, and to present, because we should go through the manifesto. We really should.
But for instance, they didn't have anything in the manifesto speaking of the national insurance, candidate ages, because I don't think people have voted for that. They had anything in the manifesto about cutting public service pension? No, I don't think so.
That wasn't in there.
But that's not what the manifesto. If those things were in the manifesto, I would not be here talking to you, because this is what the people voted for.
Right.
In England, where we got our system of government from, the parties published a manifesto. The permanent secretary in each of those ministries then go through the manifesto when the government is changed, and they do a plan to implement the manifesto promises. You know, when the minister gets into office now, the permanent secretary already has a plan for him. We don't do anything like that because we know the manifesto is a bare joke. But that's what's supposed to happen. You said that this is what I'm going to do for this country when we get elected. So the civil service then implement that manifesto for you. That is what this is all about. That's how it should be done. But we don't do anything. You're talking about visionary leaders. I'm going to tell you what their vision is. I want 2 terms so I can get a pension. That is the vision of most people in Parliament right now. They are only hoping for 8 years or 2 terms.
Right. But you know what I want? That's the vision that they come in with. But we have 15 minutes left, and there's something that I wanted to discuss with you, Mr. Franklin and Heather as well. What, as it relates to the pensions, to the NIS bill, those bills. Apart from the marching, what else can we do? We did our the petition, and that petition, Heather will give us an update on the petition. So that's one thing. One other thing that we've done the marches. Is there anything legally that we can do, or we just have to sit and wait to see if they're going to listen to us? What can we do practically, Mr. Franklin?
You see, the problem our system of government is that the courts will say you have to have locus standi, meaning that you're going to be affected. And if you are not affected, you get somebody who is affected and get not. I remember that, for instance, in the 8% pay cut case, when we wanted to find a plaintiff, I was in UPW at the time. Everybody started to follow the event. Everybody's talking big and pretty, how they're going to sue the government and all that kind of fancy nonsense. But when we actually sat down with the lawyers and we went through what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, then we wanted a plaintiff. We could find anybody, the president of the union, members of the council, everybody back out. And I remember that I know Ophelia King. I know her from a child. We grew up together. I remember her saying one day about the taxi service, but she would like to put him in court. So I called her and I said, look, you really need this race, but she said yes. And that's how come we got a person to challenge us, and she wanted it, and she wasn't even at all those meetings and all kinds of stuff with the government, or with the unions, but she was the only body that had the tested 42. Mind you, being a girl, and she stood up to them. We found out that the Privy Council rule that they can do it, but the fact remains that we had to get somebody. The president at the time, he would have to have bought one for statutory boards because he was running a statutory board. We didn't do that. We wanted one for the general public service, and we had all kinds of people on the council who were senior civil servants and all kinds of stuff, and nobody that answered the call. So that's what we're going to have to do. We have to find somebody who's going to challenge these things in court, because I don't believe that after you tell me that I will get a pension after 500 contributions, and then I have my 500 contributions, and then you change it 750, and I end up with 700 or 740 something, and I can't get a pension. I went on the system knowing that I will get a pension of 500 contributions. So you deprive me of my pension because you change the rules, not midstream. I mean, those rules should not apply to people who are currently in place. So
what can we do? What can we do legally? People are asking. Can we bring an injunction to stop them before it gets to the president?
Only the people who are involved can bring an injunction, can get an injunction. Because an injunction is not a remedy. You have to bring a case against the government, and an injunction would hold the action of the government until your case is heard. So
who are we looking for then? Who are we looking for? We're looking for people who signed on for with the 500 contribution and hearing now that they have to do 750. If we have people like those who felt that they changed midstream on them, can those people come together and file an injunction?
Well, they're not filing an injunction. You have to file an action. The injunction would only be to stop the government from acting until the case is heard. An injunction is not a remedy. It's like a holding act. Stop you from doing something until the case is heard. The problem with that too is I do not have a lot of confidence in the judiciary. Sad to say. And getting an injunction from them now, something that the government won't put in place, would be like pulling hen's teeth. But But it has to be somebody who are have 500 contributions and more, but no can't make the 750. If it's somebody like that,
Yes.
it has to be, because the rest will still get their pension. What they have done, I'm not certain now that you can tell me that if I get my 750 contributions and you calculate me now that you will change the amount of pension I get in, because I would have planned National Insurance has a portal that you can go on and you can see how much
So,
money you are
so
getting.
what I want, because I'm asking these questions because I want us to be as practical as possible. So we're saying, Miss, first thing we know is that we understand that it's not a remedy, right? It's a stay. It is it's like a stay, right?
Right.
So right, so we are looking for people. If you're listening and you are one of those persons who you signed on with 500 contributions and now you're hearing 750, you can't get your money or you're going to get less. If you're interested, if those people are interested, what can they do? Do you know they need to contact a lawyer? What do they do? What are the steps?
I'll give an example first. In the public service with the pensions, when you sign on for your pension, when you join the public service, your pensionable age is the age when you join the service. So even if they change the pensionable age, yours don't change because you're already there. So that's like part of your contract. Your contract says that I will retire at 60. If you change to 68, that will not affect people who are already there, unless the people want it to affect them. That is why when the government changes the legislation, I will give you option forms for you to opt to go to the new arrangements or whatever. So what is so different with the national insurance? Why am I not getting the option to go under the new system? But that is out of my ability. You will have to get a lawyer
Yeah, we need to get
advise
a
you on that.
lawyer, a lawyer on here with that, because I think while we're doing the marches, we have to look now to see. We need to look to see, find out what's the next legal step. What's a legal step that we can take? What is it? Those that are affected by it, and how we can get that information to persons. Heather, we have 8 minutes to go. Can you tell us about the petition?
Yes. It is not going as great as I expected. We have 4,114 signatures so to date, but the petition views, we have over 51,000 views, and it was shared 3,604 times, and 82 persons promoted the petition. And given the many views that we have, we should have been over 50,000 by now. But so shares and views and promotions have not translated into supporters. And at this point, I am not sure exactly what to do. I have an idea, but I will discuss it with the panel first to see if I should put that into action. But what I would like people to do is to call persons who they share the petition with and ask them if they have signed, and if not, why not, and encourage them to sign the petition. And especially if there are persons that who it will affect, everyone who is under 60 at January 1st next year, those are the persons who we especially need to sign the petition. So if there is anyone that please reach out to them and let them know that they will be affected.
Yeah. So we are going to try to get a lawyer to come on to just continue this discussion about the injunction and so on, and the steps, as Mr. Franklin is saying, get a lawyer. And we are going to continue to push the petition. Those are things that we can do. Of course, we're going to do the march.
Um,
Um,
no, I'm not saying get a lawyer. I answered your question because
mhm.
I am a trade unionist
Right.
and prefer to do things the trade unionist way.
I
People
understand.
people should withdraw their labor. They should tell the government, if you continue to do this, we ain't working, and mean it. I
Hmm.
tell you, I remember years ago when they wanted to fire the manager at sanitation, and then they actually fired him. People got cell phone calls and said the fire the manager and fellas stop the trucks in the middle of the road and get off and walk back. Left the truck there. Parked the one in landfill, they left the trucks in landfill and walk out. The people meant business because he was a decent manager, everybody liked him. And the workers stood up for him. So and that was resolved because then after a couple of days, somebody market, they had a couple of co-heads, and there's a garbage man and had like as big as just some on that co-head. And government get the man back to work here. So I like it the trade unionist way. I think we should withdraw our labor. But people are
I
frightened.
think so
The
too.
law is simple. If your union calls industrial action and you take industrial action, and anybody who then penalizes you for that action or dismisses you for taking action has committed a criminal act, and they're liable, and according to Section 48 of the Trade Union Act, to 6 months in jail or $1,000. It's not a lot of money, so they probably could go to jail. I don't know, but it is a criminal offense. So people must know that they have protection. The law is there to protect them. But if the union says go, go. The problem is that it must be your union.
Hmm.
You see, that's where we're coming out. Because I
Right.
don't think that none of the two BLP unions, I mean, you know me, Barbados Workers Union and
Hmm.
UPW will stand up against this government. So
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. So when you call on the union, it would only be unity workers. So the you need we need if we had all of the unions on board, but the government has the unions. He has a union, so that's why we have to try everything. We have to throw everything at them. And I wanted to know from Heather, what are you planning to do with those signatures? Even though it's 4,000 something signatures, what are you? There are some physical signatures that we have at the office, about a couple hundreds. Now, what are you doing with that? What is the next move? Can you tell us in a minute what's happening? What are you doing with it?
When a person signs, automatically what there's an email that is sent to the Prime Minister, the Governor General, and the Deputy Prime Minister's email address that we have, so they know that persons have signed the petition and they know what it is about. Ideally, we can also present them in a physical form to them, but I want to do more. And
You want to get more signatures, so
yeah,
so we have to come up with a way, because I think a lot of people too, they want to physically sign, so we have to
we can
figure
do
that
it.
out. Yes,
Yes.
okay.
Perhaps we
Hmm.
can get like some tablets on the march when you're marching and have people signed on there and then before they leave, before they disperse.
Yes, I know for the marches
Sign.
we've had a form and sent it around, and people, that's how come we have those physical signatures, so we can keep
Okay.
doing that for this march that is coming up on Saturday. I
Yes.
wonder if we can get the march on the screen. We have 2 minutes before General gives us our last marching orders. If we can have the poster up on the screen before we go. And just to remind people, guys, I know it's tough for everybody, but we do have a bill for the March each week or each 2 weeks, 2,500 covers that. So those of you yourself, you have given. We'll ask you to again. We need some help with it. and you can easily give myself or Caswell a call. Those of you who can go down to Caswell, that is a Unity Workers Union, to give in your donations, please do. All right, we do need help with that. We need help with the march. It's your march. We are the opposition. Mr. Caswell, General, final words.
Yes, Marcia. Well, I'm sitting here and I know that I'm not wasting my time. I know Barbadians will respond. They might take a little coaxing to get there, but they will do it. And it is in your best interest, because if you do not stand up for yourselves, nobody will stand up for you. You have to, and we don't want you to go and beat the Bajans. Or we want your presence. We will articulate everything for you. We don't even want you to speak if you don't want to speak. We just want you there to let the government see that we are just not a few talking heads. Remember, they said that we are just a handful. We want to show them that there's more than a handful of people. Everywhere I go, people approach me, complimenting me on these things. And I always invite them to the marches. But a lot of them don't want to come, but they will come to me and speak silently. You know, encouraging me, telling me go on, they're thanking me for my service. I want to thank you for yours. I want you to thank me for yours in your interest. Come out, support the marches, support yourselves, because trust me, everything that we are fighting for is for you.
Yes. Yes, that's good. That's a good place to end. Everything we're fighting for is for you. We're fighting for ourselves. We are the oppositions. All right. So see you tomorrow evening. Tomorrow at 7. 7. Invite somebody to, when you see the link come, send it to them and invite them to watch, and make sure find those 5 persons to invite to the march. God bless you. Thank you, Heather, for joining. And we're going to see you again tomorrow. And thank you, Mr. Caswell Franklin. Can't do it without you. This evening I was so worried. Where is he? And it was my fault. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Good night. Love you all. Thanks to the guests,
You
to
too.
the
Bye-bye.
viewers. Thank you. God bless you. We love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.